5 o'clock on the dot this Thursday morning. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. By the way, if you've got a flight to catch, you might want to check ahead. Today's supposed to be the busiest day at the airport all year long. So check ahead. Also, it's going to be hot. It's summertime. Election 2024, we're hearing from the top election official in Davidson County about the 14,000 letters the state sent to voters asking them to prove their citizenship. At least one local Democrat state lawmaker claims it targets people to intimidate them so they won't vote. Again, it's not mandatory. Davidson County Elections Administrator Jeff Roberts tells Fox 17 it's about election integrity.
I would not say it's targeted because we do this match. The state sends us a list of names on a fairly regular basis.
The letters simply ask voters to provide documents to show they are legal citizens because they may not have been when they received their driver's license or ID. Elsewhere in Middle Tennessee, Wilson County School Board to vote tonight on a gender identity policy. It would require a teacher to let parents know if a student asks to identify as a gender or name that differs from their birth certificate. Right now in Nashville, BNA has its first fallen soldier cart and will be offered every time an active, reserve, or retired military member's remains need a transfer to their final resting place. Daniel Brosh of the Fallen Soldier Program says it was started by Alaska Airlines in 2011 after employees noticed that some veterans received different transfer treatment than active fallen service members.
This is a veteran. The purpose of that card is to make sure that there's never a time where they're treated like cargo.
Brosh told News 2 these cards are available for any airline at BNA and the 16 other airports around the country where this program is in place. Market Numbers Report brought to you by Beacon Capital Management. Online at beaconcm.com. Here's Dave Packer.
An up day. The Dow up 16 points. The S&P 500 gained 9. The NASDAQ index up 88 points. Amazon Wednesday hit a stock market valuation of $2 trillion for the first time. Crude oil prices closed higher between about $80 and $85 a barrel. Volkswagen recalling more than 271,000 SUVs in the U.S. because the front passenger airbag may not inflate in a crash. Some Atlas and Atlas Cross sport vehicles are affected. Tesla recalling its futuristic new Cybertruck pickup for the fourth time in the U.S. to fix problems with trim pieces that can come loose and front windshield wipers that can fail. More than 11,000 trucks affected. Aer Lingus pilots say they will resume talks with the Irish airline after they launched an industrial action Wednesday that led to cancellation of hundreds of flights, tossed travel plans of thousands into disarray. The pilots refused to work overtime.
All right. Futures for the Dow, down 57. S&P futures down 7. NASDAQ futures down 37. It's a day of sevens. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Just turn it all off, Johnny. Just turn it all off. 5:06, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I hope the rest of the show goes better than that.
Not me.
We have had some terrible computer things happen here in the last couple of days. It's not Johnny, folks. It's not Johnny.
Well, it's partly me, yeah.
Johnny, I'm trying to cover for you.
I know you are. I'm trying to take
I didn't have anything to do with it.
You know what?
I'm over here.
Can somebody please tell Jack Womack to stop jumping in when we're trying to do a radio show?
Brother Jack, man, he's an eager beaver this morning.
That's exactly what it is. He is an eager beaver. All right,
Busy day at the airport.
Johnny, is my audio up?
Yes.
Okay, because we have some breaking news.
What? I feel like I've gone back.
Listen,
Now here's Huntley or Brinkley. I can't tell.
listen, some breaking news. CNN broke in this morning with some of this breaking news. You know, it is debate day here in America, and so you know you have the October surprise, you have the November surprise. You also have a debate day surprises. And apparently, Donald Trump is no fan of Taylor Swift. And CNN was breathlessly reporting this earlier this morning.
That was our breaking news.
That was the this is breaking news.
Okay.
You know what they're reporting? This was an actual news story.
Of course.
They reported that Donald Trump called Taylor Swift beautiful 5 times. That was their story. That was the crux of the story. Listen to this.
What do you think about Taylor Swift? One of the most famous people right now.
Yeah, I think she's beautiful, very beautiful. I find her very beautiful. I think she's liberal. She probably doesn't like Trump, but I hear she's very talented. But I think she's very beautiful, actually. Unusually beautiful.
All right, so he says Taylor Swift is beautiful 5 times.
Yeah.
And so that was part of this story from, I think it was last night on Aaron Burnett's show, and they reran it this morning, where Trump is saying that she is beautiful. And this is supposed to be, you know, this is supposed to be some sort of a big pre-debate story, you know, some sort of breaking news. And for me, as I listen to this, it's not a big deal. But CNN is trying to make this a big deal.
Absolutely.
As a matter of fact, what they're trying to do, believe it or not, as we're listening to this, as Trump calls Taylor Swift beautiful 5 times, is that's all you have. They have the writer who recorded that audio. He's a Vanity Fair writer, and he did this big article on the former president. I want you to listen to how Aaron Burnett, how she frames this story.
5 times beautiful in just those few seconds. Ramin Satuda is interviewed Trump, and he's out front. And I know, Ramin, that you spent more than 4 hours over the course of 6 different interviews. So Taylor Swift, obviously, he railed against her for endorsing Biden at a meeting with Republicans on Capitol Hill. He seems to have a real focus on her, an obsession with her. Tell me more about it.
Are you kidding me? That's where they're going with this.
Of course, man.
He has an obsession with her.
Yeah.
5 times beautiful in just those few seconds. Ramin Satuda is interviewed Trump, and he's out front. And I know, Ramin, that you spent more than 4 hours over the course.
Obsessed with Taylor Swift. That's what Donald Trump is. So somehow now, because the way that she frames it, it's like she's trying to say that he is some sort of a predator.
Yeah. They're trying to paint him as a creepy old man who, unfortunately, is the one they like, who actually is in the White House.
So that's the spin.
Yeah.
And here's the thing, is that, number one, Taylor Swift is beautiful.
Yeah, she's a good-looking gal.
And can I just say that's how Trump talks?
Yes.
I mean, that's how he speaks.
That's the thing, man.
He's just kind of, sometimes he, you know, there's a bit of word salady to Donald Trump.
Well,
I mean, he's nowhere near Kamala Harris, Johnny.
No, yeah, unusually beautiful. That's
I would say that's a stretch.
But that's Trump.
Yeah, it is.
That's how Trump talks. Everything is the best or the worst it's ever been.
Yes.
And it's not just beautiful, it's unusually beautiful.
Yes.
Beautiful times 5.
Yeah, there you go.
And it's with the hands.
Yes, always got the hands going.
Sure, they're the accordion hands.
Yes.
You know. He was asked the question.
This I can tell you.
And it is she's beautiful. This I can tell you. It was a loaded question, obviously.
Oh, sure.
Because what they're trying to do is get Trump to say something nasty about Taylor Swift.
Well, make him look out of touch.
And make him look out of touch because he said, I don't know her music. I'm not a fan. She's beautiful, but I'm not a fan.
He must listen to Chris Hand.
There's some people that I find beautiful that I'm not a fan of theirs. I mean, they're just, good looking. I mean, welcome to being a person. You know what I mean?
Uh-oh, CNN. Did you hear what Dan Mandis just said?
Oh.
I think the writer from Vanity Fair clearly was hoping for a much juicier answer.
Oh, I'm sure.
Because he was hoping that Trump would. I mean, and you know what the funny thing is? Here's what he was hoping here's what they were hoping for. They were hoping that Trump would give some sort of a nasty answer about Taylor Swift so that then they could make it a big deal. And then Taylor Swift would come out and say on TikTok or whatever she's on, Instagram, whatever she's on, hey, Donald Trump said this about me. Go vote for Joe Biden. I wonder if that's what they were trying to do. They're trying to bait the president. And he didn't take the bait. And so now he just said she's beautiful times 5. And now he's a predator. It's like the man can't win.
Now, not with this media, no.
No.
They are going to twist everything he says.
His answer was honest, and that is, to me, Trump is always honest, and clearly I think he was spot on, except for the unusually beautiful part. You know what the thing is? His answer was actually disciplined. Think about that. His answer was disciplined because he knows that Taylor Swift is very dangerous. I mean, she is. She's very dangerous politically to a conservative. So I think the old Trump may have been more aggressive about his comments, but here he's just leaving it alone. But of course, don't tell that to Vanity Fair.
Because in this audio clip, we have an intersection of two of the things that matter most to Donald Trump. Fame, which Taylor Swift is one of the most famous people on the planet, and his perception of beauty. And I think even Donald Trump knows that Taylor Swift is so famous that he can't go up against her, even though she didn't endorse him in 2020. And so you hear him kind of trying to negotiate what to say about her. And later on in the clip, I even ask if he's familiar with Taylor's music, and he says no. But this is his way of trying to say that he likes Taylor Swift in the hopes that somehow Taylor Swift will like him back.
Wow.
Whatever,
what are we at high school?
Who is this guy?
It's the idiot from Vanity Fair.
Or whatever he is.
I identify him as an idiot. How's that? Can we start identifying people? Like, if people can identify as anything, can I start and we start identifying people as we see them? Because I identify the Vanity Fair writer as an idiot. And Erin Burnett is right there. It kind of funny.
Agreeing with everything.
It's kind of because she doesn't really know where to go with all of this because there's nothing there. So she just kind of punts.
It was so fascinating in that interview. Just going back to the word beautiful, because that's the one word that he knows he could use and he was able to say about her.
So then she just moves on.
These people are obsessed.
It's funny.
Digging.
They are, man, I'm telling you. When he wins in November, if you thought 2016's Crybaby Fest was something, wait until this one.
Yeah, but there's a different dynamic at play, and we'll talk about that after the traffic on WTN. Thank you very much. Partly cloudy today. We've got a break in the heat, only a high of 87. And that is good news for us out at Hot Springs later on today, where we will be doing our debate watch party. But high of 87. Right now it is, what did you say, Johnny? Is it 72?
Yes.
72 degrees at Super Talk, 99.7 WTN. So if Trump does indeed win in November, Ken, you had a great point, which is the TDS is just going to be off the charts.
Oh, my.
But there's a different dynamic here. And here's what I would say to that. So the TDSers got who they wanted in 2020, right? They got Joe Biden. And it has been a complete and utter flippin' train wreck. And so they got their guy. They got 4 years of their guy in office, and clearly, by almost all benchmarks, he has been a complete and utter failure. So at that point, the TDSers can sit down and shut the hell up because they got their guy for 4 years, and that guy spiked inflation over 9%, failed pull out of Afghanistan, completely opened our borders, completely shanked the economy. I could go on, and I have about 3 hours and 40 minutes left, so I will, but that's the point. The point is that they got their guy for 4 years. He failed. So they can sit down, they can shut up, they can go cry in a corner, go to their safe space, and Trump is going to be left to fix the economy and close the border and deport whoever he needs to deport. Trump has to clean up. So I think that you're right, the TDSers will be off the charts, but it is a different dynamic. Because now we can just compare records, which is what is going to be happening tonight, is during this debate, you're going to have, how many fact checkers? Did you hear this? They've got like dozens of fact checkers and journalists that are going to be fact checking this thing. Now, apparently what's going on is there will be no fact checking in real time. So the moderators are not going to be fact checking, but you've got the fact checkers who, will be doing what they do. Probably, I don't know if they're going to be tweeting during the debate or if it's all going to be happening after the debate. But what's going to be interesting is, who do you think is going to get fact checked more? And I realize that's almost a silly question at this point, but they're going to fact check Donald Trump ad nauseum. But we know that Joe Biden lies, and we know that Joe Biden lies incessantly. So what I wonder is, who is it that would benefit more from no fact checking during the debate? And I think it would probably, to be honest, I think it would be Joe Biden, because Biden tells one lie after another, after another, after another. And so to me, but the moderators, they're hopefully going to stay out of this. The moderators hopefully will do, whatever they can to make sure that it is a fair debate. And it's a debate that does not have any bias. We'll have to wait and see what happens. I think that's going to be one of many really interesting things that people are going to be watching for, is that bias. And will Jake Tapper, will Dana Bash actually work to, save Joe Biden? But here's the thing. Trump needs to be able to fact check Biden in real time. That is Donald Trump's job. So if Joe Biden comes out and he says, well, I inherited Trump's economy, and when I took the oath of office, inflation was at 9%. Now, everybody knows that that is a bunch of BS. If there's one thing that I've noticed about Donald Trump in all of the years that I've been covering him, and I say this as a supporter, is that when it comes to policy and when it comes to the nuts and bolts of the issues, the real just granular stuff, he's not always there. He doesn't always take advantage of the opportunities presented to him. So when Biden, I'm just going to use this as an example, if Biden says that, because he's said this a number of different times, where if Biden makes the claim that inflation was at 9% when he took office, Donald Trump has to be able to fact check Biden in real time and say, no. When you took office, inflation was whatever it was when Biden took office. I think it was like 3.2 or 3.3%, something like that. But Trump needs to fact check Biden. You know what I really liked about Gavin Newsom? And I know that is a very bizarre thing to say. You know what I really liked about Gavin Newsom? When he was debating Ron DeSantis, was Newsom had websites ready to go. And so what I would love, and I hope that Trump does this, I don't think that he will, but it would be really good if he did, is you can't get all of the information that you want to put out there. You can't answer to all of the lies that Biden is going to tell tonight. Have a website ready to go. Have a website ready to go where you say, factcheckbiden.com or .org or .whatever. And say, you know what? I can't get it all in right here with only 90 minutes. 90 minutes is not enough time to fact check all of the lies of Joe Biden or talk about all of the mistakes of the Biden administration. So go to Bidensucks.com and look at all that we have there. And that's what Trump has to do. I don't know if he will, probably not. But I think that when Newsom was debating DeSantis on Hannity's show, that was one of the things that he did was he had a website ready to go where he could say, we've got all the facts and all the verifications you need at this website. And I hope that's what he does. It is 5:22 on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. By the way, the Super Text line is open, 615-737-9986, 615-737-WWTN. Would love to hear from you today. Would love to see you tonight out at Hop Springs in Murfreesboro. Cannot wait. It's going to be tonight, this afternoon, beginning at 3, goes till 8. Me, Chris, Matt, and Brian. Brian starts broadcasting at 3. Hop Springs. And by the way, we know that Fat Maddie's Pizza is going to have a food truck.
Dude, anytime there's a pizza joint called Fat Something, I'm in.
Well, Fat Maddie's Pizza is going to be there. Yeah. I don't know. You know what? It sounds like it. I'm not dissing Fat Maddie's, but it sounds like really thick crust pizza.
Yeah.
I'm not a big thick crust guy. I'm like a thin crust guy.
Well, I'll have some of yours.
Okay, you go right. Does that mean you're coming, Ken?
I think I'm going to go out there and have a couple of beers.
Oh, Ken Weaver's going to come.
I'm going to eat some of that Fat Maddie's Pizza, too.
All right. You know
I think that's what tipped the scale.
You know what? Well, it sure will
intended.
if you have enough of that Fat Maddie's. John, now we got to ask John if he's going to come.
I didn't say that.
Hey, John, are you going to just moving right along? Ken Weaver, what's coming up in the news?
Well, we're hearing from the top election official in Nashville about those 14,000 letters the state sent to voters asking for proof of citizenship at 5:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
The guaranteed offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, no lock boxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.
5:30 on the dot this Thursday morning. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes on this. What is going to be the busiest travel day for airports of the year so far? Election 2024. We're hearing from the top election official in Nashville about the 14,000 letters the state sent to voters asking that they prove their citizenship because they may have been naturalized after they received their driver's license or ID. Some, including Nashville's Democrat State Rep John Ray Clemens, claim it's voter intimidation. But Davidson County Election Administrator Jeff Roberts telling Fox 17 it's all about election integrity. And anyone who received the letter just need to do what's being asked to ensure a fair election.
I would not say it's targeted because we do this match. The state sends us a list of names on a fairly regular basis.
He says they've already had a number of individuals come to the office and provide documentation to them directly. And with hours to go until the big debate tonight, former President Trump isn't in seclusion like Joe Biden. Trump was on a call at an Atlanta-based barbershop last night.
All right, everybody, you're on with the president. Hello, Mr. President.
Mr. President. The Trump campaign holding a roundtable at a barbershop in Atlanta discussing issues facing the black community. Trump calling into the event.
We lifted 6.6 million people out of the poverty, which is a record.
Saying his criminal indictments are helping him gain support in the black community.
I guess they equate it to problems that they've had.
The Biden campaign responding, calling Trump a lifelong racist who has spent his entire life and career harming black and Latino communities.
That's Perry Russum reporting. And the latest news, traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
5:37, Nashville's morning news on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Time for the gang of three amigos. Good morning, Johnny B. Good morning, Ken.
Good morning.
Good morning, boys. Yeah.
How we doing? Everybody good?
Yeah, man, I'm off today, dude. My cadence is really screwed up. It's like I'm reading and I get to certain words and it's like I'm getting a flat tire or something. Like it just doesn't sound right.
Okay.
Like market numbers report. Market numbers report.
You hitting some potholes, Ari? That's what I call them. I call them potholes.
I'm hitting potholes. And I'm trying to just drive right through them. So every half hour this morning, folks, just,
enjoy the train wreck.
Yeah. Exactly.
Just enjoy it.
Just buckle up.
Buckle up.
Be sure to put your seatbelts on.
Yeah, there's going to be some moments.
You know what? Sometimes you have to just slow down and look at the crash. That's what everybody does.
Yep.
So with Ken Weaver, every half hour. See, for me, I get the opportunity every few minutes, and I take advantage of those opportunities. Clearly. As everyone knows.
You're like me, Brother Dan. You see it as an opportunity.
That's exactly right. I see every word that I say, I see it as an opportunity to improve.
Yeah. Like at the top of last hour, I was trying to tease that today is supposed to be the busiest day so far this year at America's airports.
Yeah.
And it just came out. It's going to be the airport. It's going to be a whole lot of people there. Anyway, weather and traffic.
You may want to leave early.
I actually heard that, Ken.
Yeah.
And I started chuckling at myself because I'm like, Ken got lost.
Folks, here it is on the airport.
But see, I thought it was funny, and I thought you handled it perfectly.
Yeah, you did.
And then there was Johnny's cluster, since we're all just calling ourselves out. There was Johnny's cluster in the beginning.
Well, and may I add to that, what happened was that right as we're going to air, I get this instruction, hey, tell Ken to keep his earphones on. Okay.
I tell, you know what? Timing is everything, isn't it, Johnny? So I tell, so right when Johnny, I guess,
see, we're off.
I guess it's supposed to hit. Well, all right, so I'll take the hit for that. So when Johnny's getting ready to push the button, I tell Johnny, hey, Johnny, tell Ken to stand by. We're going to have some fun. And, just for people that don't know, the Q speaker in there, when I talk to Johnny, is like really loud.
Yes.
And so when I get animated like I do, I come in really loud, and Johnny's trying to hear the out cue to push the button and all this kind of stuff, and I'm screaming at Johnny.
Yeah.
And then he got apparently fat-fingered, and he hit multiple buttons.
It's just one of those days, man.
It is. It is one of those days.
That's okay. Listen, that's fine. I've got 4 hours here. I've got another couple of hours on the air tonight. I'm sure that I'm going to shank more than my fair share of things.
It's going to be shankalicious.
That's right, baby.
It's going to be shank-filled fun. By the way, do you know how many people came up to me yesterday and mentioned fart in a can?
I imagine that was a big one.
If you missed yesterday's 8:35 Gang of Three Amigos, very seldom do I tell people to go back and listen to stuff because I want them to listen to like right now. But if you have a few moments today and there's nothing going on, go back and listen or watch the 8:35 Gang of Three Amigos yesterday. What a complete train wreck.
Dude.
What a complete train wreck.
It's just when you pose the question, how do you put fart in a can?
Yeah, they can do that?
I immediately started visualizing a funnel.
You know what? I'm thinking that there should
where
be
the funnel goes.
There should be like a TikTok challenge. How funny would this be? A TikTok challenge. Get like an empty Folgers can or something.
Oh.
And then when nature calls, go ahead and do it in the can and put the lid on really quick. And then see if it's still there like an hour later. Hand it to a friend, whatever. And just open it up.
Smell
and see
this.
Smell this.
Well, now we're going to have to get another brand.
See, now I'm
I'm not going to be able to drink Folgers coffee.
Now I'm genuinely curious if that would actually work.
Somebody's going to do it.
Yeah, they are.
Johnny, did
Hell,
you
they
have...
probably already do. You probably just have to look it up.
You know
on
what? If
TikTok.
somebody walks up to me today with a Folgers can, I'm not going to smell it.
No, not falling.
Just so everybody knows.
Not falling for the Folgers in the can bit.
Oh, man.
Johnny, you got anything for this?
Yes, I do. Guys, there's been a new scientific study. Boy, this is one I can get behind. I'm so glad our tax dollars went to this. But they decided to look into what people listen to at their parties, like what kind of music. And there are top 10 rock bands that showed up. They used Spotify as a...
Okay, now here's what's interesting.
Yeah.
There's so many questions, though. Like, what kind of party? And is it, like, for cool people like us, or is it for, like, nerdy-type yuppies?
I think you can kind of judge that by the bands.
Okay, go.
At number 10, Green Day.
Okay.
Nope, not doing it.
Yeah, I couldn't picture. I don't want to hear Green Day.
Wouldn't
at a
be
party.
there.
No.
Okay.
Number 9, Guns N' Roses.
Yep, I'd be there.
I like Guns N' Roses.
I'd be all right.
Mm-hmm.
Number 8, Creedence Clearwater Revival.
I'd be there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Especially if barefoot girls were dancing in the moonlight, baby.
And jean shorts.
Yes.
There you go. Anyway, number 7, Led Zeppelin.
Yes.
Whole lot of lovin'.
Yeah. A whole lot of loving, baby. Number 6, this is a party I don't want to go to, Nirvana.
Yes.
I love Nirvana, but that's the most depressing music.
No, I'd be there.
That Nirvana doesn't sound like party music.
No, it doesn't sound like party music.
Oh, you can party to it.
This one doesn't either. Number 5, Fleetwood Mac.
Yes.
Yeah,
not-
that sounds like yacht rock.
No, there's going to be good-looking chicks there.
That's the kind of album you put out when it's just you and a good-looking chick.
Sure.
Dancing barefoot.
There you go, baby. Red Hot Chili Peppers coming in at number 4.
No.
All right. Yeah, I'm not a fan.
Well, there may be good-looking chicks there.
I could see that. They got some party music.
Mm-hmm.
Number 3, the Rolling Stones.
Yes, sir.
All right, I'm there.
I'm there.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2, Queen.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
The number 1 top rock band usually featured at parties, and they say widespread from all of their research.
Journey.
Wrong.
Bryan Adams.
Wrong.
I know who it is. In all seriousness, I know who it is.
All right.
I want to guess.
All right.
Ken, can you guess? Do you have a guess? I know who it is.
I know who I wish it was,
I
who
think
I
it-
would have, but
I've put this all together in my head.
okay.
Johnny brought this to the table, and from the bands that are being mentioned, I think that it's probably Van Halen.
Wrong.
I think it's probably AC/DC.
Hey, right on, baby.
See, I knew it was one of those two because Johnny brought it to the table.
Yes, sir.
AC/DC apparently lands on everybody's party list, including some that like the number 1 party music, which is, of course, rap.
Yes, sir.
Even some of those fans like AC/DC.
There you go.
Let me tell you something. I went to many a party out in pasture land, out in the middle of a pasture in Oklahoma in my time. And I mean, it was always Hank Williams Jr.,
Yes.
George Strait,
Oh, yeah.
AC/DC, and ZZ Top.
There's certain universal bands.
Those were the bands
Yes.
that you heard the most.
There's certain universal bands in songs that are universally loved regardless as to who you are, or, you know, like there are some like Nirvana and Smells Like Teen Spirit. I like that song.
Oh, I love Nirvana. I just
Yeah.
don't know if I'd want to go to a party
Yep.
featuring their music. That's the whole, because every one of these bands, I like them on the top 10, but I don't know if I'd want to hear.
Do you know that Amy put together a...
But see, here's the thing about Nirvana. It wasn't depressing back in when Kurt Cobain was alive.
No.
Now, nowadays, maybe it's different. Well, for one thing, nowadays, the Nirvana party for people my age ends at like 5:30 in the afternoon.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed.
We try anyway.
Yeah, it ends at Luby's with a piece of pie and a cup of coffee.
All right, so
probably decaf so you can sleep.
So YouGov did a survey comparing Donald Trump and Joe Biden, moving right along.
Okay, Brother Dan.
These are some very non-political questions. And I want you two to guess who you think would be better at what.
Okay.
Who do you think would be more likely to win a baking competition, Joe Biden or Donald Trump?
Donald Trump.
Donald Trump.
They say Joe Biden by 25%. Joe Biden 25%. Donald Trump 17%.
He would use baking soda instead of sugar.
He would. That's the thing. It's like you're really
Either that or Hunter would get involved and everybody would be
they would lose
climbing the walls.
They lose their appetite.
That's not flour. That's cocaine, man.
I lost my appetite. I can't sleep.
Who do you think would be a more reliable designated driver, Joe Biden or Donald Trump?
Donald Trump.
Donald Trump, definitely.
He doesn't drink or smoke.
33% of the American people somehow said Joe Biden.
All right.
Would be a better designated driver. By the way, 33% also said Donald Trump. So there you go.
So they have a death wish.
Now this one tells me that they were clearly talking to idiots. Who do you believe would be a more trusty babysitter? Joe Biden at 38%. Donald Trump only got 27%. So Joe Biden, who raised Hunter Biden, and Joe Biden, who supposedly took creepy showers with his daughter, according to the Ashley Biden's diary. And people say that, and of course he's the sniffer in chief. People said that Joe Biden would be a better babysitter than Donald Trump.
No.
What a bunch of maroons.
Yeah, I mean, even if Donald Trump ended up not doing it, he'd hire somebody really good.
Exactly.
He just farm it out.
And she'd probably be really good looking.
Yes.
Who do you think would be better at imitating celebrity voices, Joe Biden or Donald Trump?
Donald Trump.
Yeah, Donald
Absolutely.
Trump.
People got that one, 37% to 8%. Who would be more likely to help a stranger?
Trump.
Joe Biden or Donald Trump?
Trump would in a heartbeat.
Joe Biden won that 46 to 30%. That's the thing. I don't know who they...
Joe Biden would drive by in his limousine.
That's exactly right.
They must have done this at Martha's Vineyard.
They must have.
Yes, that is exactly right. Who do you think would give better financial advice?
Trump.
42% actually said Joe Biden.
Well, I mean, if you want to deal in Ukraine and China, yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Now, people said that Donald Trump, 52% to 14%, would actually win at arm wrestling.
What?
At arm wrestling.
Who would win?
Trump. Would.
Oh, well, yeah,
52
absolutely.
to 14%.
Jack.
When are you going to start, Jack?
Win against the other at trivia. Donald Trump, 37% over Joe Biden's 30%. Joe Biden, you could beat Joe Biden at trivia by asking him what his name is.
Exactly.
Hey, Joe Biden, who is the 46th president of the United States?
Me.
He'll be like,
Kamala Harris.
You know what, Johnny? He would probably say Kamala Harris. Let's see here. People did get this right. Who do you think would spend more time getting ready in the morning, Donald Trump or Joe Biden? 46% said Donald Trump to Joe Biden's 26%. You know, Trump has to get the whole hair thing down.
Yes.
Biden has to shove in those teeth.
No, Biden can't find his pants.
There is that, too.
Yeah.
He would actually have to take a nap in the middle of it.
There is that, too.
He'd probably be sprawled out on the floor in nothing but underwear.
Who do you think has a hard time in the morning? Like, in all seriousness. Biden's got to put in his teeth, but Trump has to do the hair.
And he has to change the diaper.
Biden.
There is the changing of the diaper.
Yeah.
Trump's hair probably never changes.
I don't think it
probably
does.
just stays exactly like it is all the time.
Oh, can you imagine? No. Can you imagine the mess that Donald Trump's hair is when he wakes up?
Yeah, first thing in the morning.
I mean, that thing's got to be just, it's
That's
like
gotta
he
be
probably
frightful.
put his finger in a light socket.
It's probably a mess, the likes of which nobody's ever seen.
Exactly right. All right, 5:52 on Super Talk 99.7. Ken Weaver, what's coming up in the news at 6?
Well, we are hearing from Nashville's top elections administrator on these 14,000 letters the state sent out to voters asking for proof of citizenship at 6 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
5:55, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, Congressman Scott DesJarlais is going to be with us at 6:35. He's going to give us his preview, his analysis of what we're going to see tonight. This is DJ or TJ Duckalo, and he is from the Biden administration, and they're calling him a mid-level Biden campaign spokesman.
Trump is a existential, urgent threat to our democracy. He promises to rule as a dictator on day one, promises a bloodbath if he loses, promises to replace civil servants with his loyalists. So that's the contrast I think folks are going to see tomorrow night, and we're excited to make it.
So
good.
It
gets my vote.
You know what's so... Is there a problem?
I was getting ready to say, what's the problem?
You know what's so funny is that I have played that same audio bite from different Joe Biden spokespeople.
Yeah.
For the last 3 months. It's like
that's their mantra.
It's like they've got it on a cue card.
Yes.
They went home and they looked in the mirror and they just said the same line.
Trump is a existential, urgent threat to our democracy. He promises to rule as a dictator on day one, promises a bloodbath if he loses, promises to replace civil servants with his loyalists. So that's the contrast I think folks are going to see tomorrow night, and we're excited to make it.
I bet you, they do. They just look in the mirror and they repeat that same line over and over again. But you see, here's the great part, and we talked about this yesterday, where there's that poll that was out. There's been a couple of different polls where the American people, when the American people were asked, who do you trust more with democracy? Overwhelmingly, the American people said Donald Trump versus Joe Biden.
Yeah.
So keep practicing your line, DJ TJ Duckalo. Whatever. Anyway, got a lot more straight ahead. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, it's Dan Mandis, and I am so glad that California Closets has fixed my closet catastrophe. After exact measuring and planning, they came over and got to work. Yeah, once it was all plotted out on their 3D CAD system, the pieces are measured, cut, and precisely installed into my space. It was clean, fast, and professional, and above all, my new closets look and function great. Now, this was my dormer, and now this is my new dormer thanks to California Closets. Look at all of this added space for shirts and shoes, you name it, and it is cut so precisely, simply amazing. And my old closet that has now been reborn as the ultimate in style and functionality, making the best use of the space that I had. They can work on just about anything: bedrooms, garages, home offices, closets, pantries, and so much more. Find them online, CaliforniaClosets.com, and see what they can do for you. You can schedule a free design consultation. Mention my name, CaliforniaClosets.com.
Six o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories, and today's supposed to be the busiest day of the year for airports. TSA expects to screen more than 32 million people between today and Monday. Got the full forecast. That's Monday, July the 8th, by the way. So apparently a lot of people hitting the roads and the highways for the 4th of July week. Full forecast and traffic coming up in 5 minutes. Election 2024, we're hearing from the top election official in Davidson County about the 14,000 letters the state sent to voters asking them to prove their citizenship. At least one local Democrat state lawmaker, John Ray Clemens, claiming it targets people to intimidate them so they won't vote. But Davidson County Elections Administrator Jeff Roberts tells Fox 17 it's about election integrity.
I would not say it's targeted because we do this match. The state sends us a list of names on a fairly regular basis.
The letters simply ask voters to provide documents to show they are legal citizens because they may not have been when they received their driver's license or ID. Elsewhere in Middle Tennessee, Wilson County School Board tonight will vote on a gender identity policy. It would require a teacher to let parents know if a student asks to identify as a gender or name that differs from their birth certificate. And right now in Nashville, BNA has its first fallen soldier cart and will be offered every time an active, reserve, or retired military member's remains need a transfer to their final resting place. Daniel Broche of the Fallen Soldier Program says it was started by Alaska Airlines in 2011.
This is a veteran. The purpose of that card is to make sure that there's never a time where they're treated like cargo.
Broche telling News 2 these cards are available for any airline at BNA and the 16 other airports around the country where that program's in place. Got a food recall. Smoked salmon sold at Kroger being recalled in Tennessee, Kentucky, Alabama, Arkansas, and 12 other states because it might be contaminated with listeria. They are the Foppen smoked Norwegian salmon slices. Sold in 8 1-ounce packages. You can take it back for a refund. Market Numbers Report. Market Numbers brought to you by Beacon Capital Management. Online at beaconcm.com. Here's Jim Ryan.
Investors waded through a choppy Wednesday session that left the Dow Jones gaining about 15.5 points, the S&P adding 0.16%. The Nasdaq picked up 0.5% to close back near its record set 10 days ago. Shares of H&M plunged more than 14% overnight after the company reported a smaller than expected increase in second quarter profits. The Swedish retailer, second biggest in the world, has hinted that it will miss its target for full-year profit. Meanwhile, Amazon is now the 5th U.S. company to hit a value of at least $2 trillion after its stock price jumped over 3% Wednesday. It follows Alphabet, Apple, Nvidia, and Microsoft with a value of 2, followed by 12 zeros. And NASA has chosen SpaceX to develop a vehicle that'll bring the International Space Station to a fiery end. The company will be paid up to $843 million for a space tug to help deorbit the ISS in a controlled manner at the end of its operational life in 2030.
All right, let's check futures ahead of this morning's opening bell on Wall Street. Dow futures down 49, S&P down 6, NASDAQ down 32. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is Matt Murphy for Members Nutrition. I want to tell you about the Members Nutrition difference, and I want to encourage you to go over to the Members Nutrition website. Number one, they believe at Members Nutrition that they can sell vitamins and supplements at a lower cost point, and they're doing it every single day at membersnutrition.com. Number two, they want to make these products right here in the United States of America, not from some overseas company, and they do that every single day. I encourage you to go to membersnutrition.com. You'll get 50% off your purchase price at checkout. You don't have to put in any codes. Just go to membersnutrition.com. Once again, membersnutrition.com.
Information fueled.
Opinion driven. This is Nashville's Morning News with Dan Mandis.
And so, my fellow Americans,
we talk news.
6:07, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. And welcome on in. Debate day across Middle Tennessee and America. Don't forget tonight from 3 to 8, myself, Chris, Matt, Brian, going to be out at Hop Springs in Murfreesboro. Fat Maddie's Pizza is going to have a food truck there, and we're going to have a great time watching the debate. You can also hear the debate right here on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. So I had a bit of deja vu the other day when I saw this headline. It was all over the place. 16 Nobel Prize winners signed a letter now decrying Donald Trump's economic policies. And of course, their reasoning is insane, says Red State. And but the point is, and we'll get into the reasoning, but the bottom line is, how's your economy? How are you doing? Are you paying more money for groceries and gas? Of course you are. I'm not going to insult your intelligence. You know what your economy is like. But the reason why I had deja vu is because it reminded me of something. When I saw that headline, it reminded me of this moment during the debate 4 years ago.
Joe, they're calling you a corrupt politician.
There are 50 former national intelligence folks who said that what he's accusing me of is a Russian plant.
In other words, all of a sudden, right before the debate, here comes this 16 Nobel Prize winners signing this letter decrying Donald Trump's economic policies. This, I guarantee you, will be discussed tonight during the debate. You're going to have Joe Biden use this as something to say. Remember what I said at that moment in the next day after the debate 4 years ago, when you had Donald Trump and Joe Biden talking about the laptop from hell, and that letter came out with those 51 intelligence officials, blah, 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 said that it was Russian disinformation. It gave Joe Biden something to say. It gave him an answer. And it was all, of course, as you know, based on lies. Well, this is the same thing here. So how does Joe Biden, when the issue of the economy comes up, when inflation comes up, when gas prices come up, well, then what does Joe Biden say? Because there is no defense. Well, Biden can just say, hey, there's these 16 Nobel Prize winners that have signed this letter decrying Donald Trump's economic policies. They're saying that inflation is going to skyrocket. It's the same trick, friends. It's the same tactic. I mean, we already saw it in play yesterday. This was Nancy Pelosi. Listen to this.
16 Nobel laureates came out this week and said that if what's-his-name were elected president with his fiscal policies, inflation would
come on, you can do it.
Just increase enormously in our country. Right. And you have Joe Biden on the other side of that screen leading the world in reducing inflation in our country.
Now, the funny thing is, yeah, she says Joe Biden is leading the world in reducing inflation.
Oh, my.
Number one, I would say, okay, well, he was the one that brought it up past 9%. So,
and she was part of it, too.
And she, of course, was part of it, too. That's number one. But number two, that tells you exactly what I'm talking about. This is going to give Joe Biden an answer to when he starts trying to defend his Bidenomics, which there is no defense for it. He could just tout this letter. And by the way, my favorite part of this is, you know how Pelosi wears all that costume jewelry? Somebody's got to have the testicular fortitude to tell Nancy Pelosi to stop wearing it. Because all through the interview, you can hear it smashing on the desk. And you can tell it's driving people nuts.
Inflation would...
Come on.
Just increase enormously.
She was like, what do I even say here? Anyway, so that is Nancy Pelosi already using that sound bite. But wait, there's more. Just to prove what I'm saying is correct, there is a montage out there of old Circle Back herself, Jen Psaki, and cringe Jean-Pierre and Joe Biden, all using previous letters written by these same Nobel Prize winners talking about Biden economics. Listen to this.
Today, 15 recipients of the Nobel Prize in Economics released a letter in support of the president's Build Back Better plan,
including 4 Nobel Prize winners recently highlighted in an open letter.
17 Nobel laureates who have conveyed this will help address inflation.
14.
The funny thing is they can't remember. What is it? 13? Is it 14? Is it 15? Is it 20? How many is it?
Nobel laureates in economics said it'll actually bring down the cost. It will reduce the deficit, and it will totally paid for.
The funny thing is, none of that turned out to be true.
Do we hear 17?
Do we have 18 now? Do we have 18?
And it's going to reduce inflation. 17 Nobel laureates in economics and 15 Nobel laureates in economics released a letter yesterday. 17 Nobel Prize winners.
So it went from 15 to 17 in one sentence. I mean, I think you get the idea.
Brilliant. Way to go, brother Dan Mandis.
It is ridiculous. And so this is the same pattern over and over again, where if you can't defend your policy, you also can't defend the results of your policy. Well, then find a whole bunch of folks out there that have a D next to their name, bunch of Democrats, and, have them write a letter. It worked the first time with the laptop from hell, so just have them write a letter and try to, give Joe Biden some sort of a defense and something to say. And I guarantee you, Biden is going to use that, if he can remember, Biden's going to use that as a defense for Bidenomics when Donald Trump brings up the fact that the economy is terrible.
Only tonight it'll be 1,000 Nobel laureates.
I'm sure that 1,001.
Yeah.
I'm sure is what it'll be. So anyway, and that's going to be just one of the things that Biden is going to try to do to defend what the last 3.5 years have been like. And, for the American people, it's all fine, well, and good. These Nobel Prize winners, they're all going to say this, and that's all fine, well, and good. But you're asking the American people not to believe their eyes, not to believe their wallets and their bank accounts. That's what they're trying to do. Your credit card balance. Because how many people are still carrying around all of that credit card balance from when we did have interest rates that were up over 9% and people were having to use their credit card for groceries? I mean, this is something that is still to this day plaguing Americans. So that is one of the things to watch for tonight. It is 6:15 on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Time to check the roads. Thank you very much. 6:15, partly clouded today and a high of 87. Right now, 73 degrees at Super Talk 99.7 WTN. One of my favorite audio bites from yesterday was Janet Yellen, worth $20 million.
Secretary Yellen, have you been to the grocery store lately?
I sure have. I go every week.
It's sticker shock, isn't it?
No.
I just...
She said, no.
And she goes every week?
Yeah.
That's what she says.
Yeah, that's what she says.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's why she goes about 3 or 4 times a week.
I would. Oh. Wow, Ken. All right. Well, with Janet Yellen, grocery inflation since 2019. So when she is saying, oh my God. when she is saying that she goes every week and she does not feel the sticker shock, again, being worth $20 million. You know what I'd be interested in? Those 20 Nobel Prize winners who are saying that, Trump's policy is going to cause inflation to skyrocket. I'm genuinely curious, number one, who they vote for, who they voted for, what's their party, and what they're worth. But listen to this from the Daily Mail. As Janet Yellen is not suffering any kind of sticker shock. You are. Bread, grocery inflation since 2019. Bread is up 53%.
Yep.
Chicken breasts, 53%.
Yep.
Potatoes, 25%.
Yep.
Bananas, 7%. Eggs, 98%.
Yep.
Milk, 98%. Coffee, 44%. Ground beef, 35%.
Yep.
Rice, up 32%. And cookies, up 33%.
Yeah.
So I would ask those, Nobel Prize winners, what do you say to the fact that Joe Biden, after 3.5 years of Bidenomics, we have seen this kind of inflation? What is your answer to that? And by the way, the audio that I was playing, the montage where they had all of these Nobel Prize winners that are constantly, writing letters supporting Joe Biden's economic plan. Well, I'm assuming it's all of the same Nobel Prize winners. I'm assuming it's all the same economists because
writing letters.
They're just writing strongly worded letters. But they're the ones that were advocating for Bidenomics. These are the same ones that were advocating for the policies that brought us 53% higher bread prices, 53% higher chicken breast prices, and on it goes. So it's like the American people, half of us are dumb. Not all of us, but half of us, the ones that, voted for Joe Biden in 2020. And that's going to be interesting. So, you got all these people that have Biden regret syndrome, right? And I think I used to call that BRS, Biden regret syndrome. And so they voted for Joe Biden, and now they regret voting for Joe Biden. And coming up in the 7 o'clock hour, I don't know if you folks saw this, but there was a great, what would you call it? It's like a bunch of black guys sitting in a barbershop. Bunch of black guys sitting in a barbershop.
Round table.
Yeah, but they're sitting in I guess that's a thing.
It's a barbershop round table.
Yeah, that's what it was. It was hosted by Byron Donalds, and you had black Donald Trump supporters. And I guess it's a thing where you have a bunch of people in communities in barbershops, and
that's
they
where
just
everybody
talk.
goes to talk.
Yeah, it is. It's where everybody goes to talk. And so they were all sitting in this barbershop, Rocky's Barbershop, and they're just talking about politics and Joe Biden and Donald Trump. The former president, possibly future President Trump, actually calls into the barbershop roundtable. And so Byron Donalds moderated all of these questions, and Trump spent, I think, about 15 or 20 minutes with them. And they all asked a lot of great questions. So we're going to get into that coming up in the 7 o'clock hour. Coming up at 6:35, Congressman Scott DesJarlais is going to join us. And he's going to, just sort of give us his preview of the debate and what he thinks is going to happen. I'm going to ask him, is this going to put him in an awkward situation? What should we look for? Because he's a medical doctor, right? So what should we look for in Joe Biden that would maybe be a cue, maybe be an indicator that he is on some sort of happy juice? You know what I'm saying?
He's got a spring in his step and he's snapping his fingers.
That's exactly right. I mean, what do we look for?
Whistling.
Okay. Maybe
it jogs out to the podium.
I don't know. This is why I'm going to have the congressman on. He'll be able to answer the questions. What are the signs that Joe Biden would be on a cocktail?
Probably need a lot of water.
A lot of water?
Yeah. Look at his pupils. Maybe we can see his pupils.
By the way, and I should have covered this earlier, but I got so much. Today, there's a couple of different polls that are out. The headline is Donald Trump gets a boost from America's best pollster ahead of the debate. Just a few bullet points. Trump over Biden, 48 to 42%. 10% said they didn't know or refused to vote. That's overall the general electorate. Trump is still looking good in the battleground states. The latest New York Times at Siena College poll, which according to analysis site 538, is the best pollster in the country, found that voters largely disapprove of either candidate winning a second term. Nearly 60% 28%, though, have a somewhat unfavorable or very unfavorable opinion of Biden. Around 52% said the same thing about Donald Trump. However, they do say that they favor Donald Trump for a president. And that same Nate Silver, that very same Nate Silver from 538 has said that this election is no longer a toss-up. It is Donald Trump all the way. So I don't know about other folks out there, and trust me when I say I still have, what would you call this? What's a good phrase for this?
PTSD?
No, maybe. I got PTSD from
the red wave.
The red wave PTSD. Yeah, I don't trust all the polling because I'm feeling like it's the same thing that we saw, in the midterm elections back when.
Sure.
So this is all, great fodder, as Ken, you and I have talked about. This is great fodder for discussion, but the reality is that we won't know anything until the days and weeks following November 5th.
And you still got to go vote.
And you still,
that's all that matters,
you've got to go vote. And vote early, and as the Democrats say, vote often. 6:23 on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Big news for my friends at Window Nation. It is their semi-annual sale going on right now. This is a really big deal. Now, you should know by now that Window Nation is my window company. This is the company that I chose to put new windows in my downstairs basement studio, and I just put a down payment on my kitchen and bedroom windows. That's going to be installed in the next several weeks. Now, they've got a great deal going on right now. You can get 50% off of all windows plus 0% interest for 5 years and a bonus savings offer when you schedule your appointment today and mention my name. So call them, 866-90-NATION. Schedule a fast, no obligation, in-home consultation now with the pros at Window Nation. And don't forget that great deal. Get 50% off all windows plus 0% interest for 5 years and that bonus savings offer when you schedule your appointment today and mention my name. 866-90-NATION is the phone number, 866-90-NATION. You can find all the details at windownation.com. 6:24 on Nashville's Morning News. Ken Weaver was coming up in the news at 6:30.
A follow-up to the 14,000 proof of citizenship letters to voters in Tennessee. We got polling ahead of tonight's CNN presidential debate. And there's a story out of Seattle. 4 people in a car. 1 is dead, 3 others injured, and they're all suspects. At 6:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
The guaranteed offer is the easiest way to sell your home. It's really simple. We bring you an all-cash offer. You close in as little as 21 days. No home inspections, no lock boxes, no open houses. Go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer and start packing.
I mean, I keep telling people I have to hear the Cards for Kids commercial in headphones.
Yeah, in stereo.
How do you think I feel? 629, Nashville's Morning News on WTN. Get the speed you need at a great price with Xfinity Internet. Now, you know what's going on in my house with all three of us working on our computers, doing homework or radio shows. We depend on Xfinity Internet in my house, and you can too. You can get up to 5 times faster upload speeds for smoother connections on the largest gig speed network from Xfinity. And Xfinity's gig speed internet is available to 99% of their footprint. In other words, it is fast, reliable, and pretty much everywhere. You can enjoy all your favorite apps all in one place with a Flex 4K streaming box. And yes, you can stay connected as well. On the go with over 20 million secure Xfinity Wi-Fi hotspots nationwide. To get started, call 1-800-XFINITY, visit Xfinity.com, or drop into an Xfinity store today for more details. Actual speeds vary and are not guaranteed, based on Xfinity's fastest available download speeds. Not available in all areas. Performance may be limited by customer's device configuration.
.30 on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories, and officials say today will be the busiest day so far this year at the nation's airports, but wait until tomorrow. Full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. Right now in Tennessee, election 2024. We're hearing from the top election official in Nashville about the 14,000 letters the state sent to voters asking that they prove their citizenship because they may have been naturalized after they received their driver's license or ID. Some, including Nashville's Democrat State Rep John Ray Clemens, claiming it's voter intimidation. But Davidson County Election Administrator Jeff Roberts telling Fox 17 it's all about election integrity. And anyone who received the letter, they just need to do what's being asked to ensure a fair election.
I would not say it's targeted because we do this match. The state sends us a list of names on a fairly regular basis.
Yeah, he says they've already had a number of individuals come to their office in Nashville and provide documentation directly. We got some polling ahead of tonight's big debate. Here's Perry Russum.
Trump and Biden are neck and neck in the polls. A new poll shows Trump with a 4-point lead nationwide. Other polls show Trump leading in most battleground states. Another survey shows an unprecedented amount of double haters, Americans who prefer neither candidate. 25% now saying they do not like Biden or Trump, compared to just 13% before the 2020 election.
Yeah, Biden's been in seclusion for days to prepare for tonight. Former President Trump is campaigning.
All right, everybody, you're on with the president. Hello, Mr. President.
Mr. President.
Yeah, the Trump campaign holding a roundtable at a barbershop in Atlanta discussing issues facing the black community. Trump calling into the event.
We lifted 6.6 million people out of the poverty, which is a record.
Then the Biden campaign responded, calling Trump a, quote, lifelong racist who has, quote, spent his entire life and career harming black and Latino communities. And get this story out of Seattle. A man is dead. 3 others are injured after a fight in a car on a freeway in Seattle. In a bizarre series of events, troopers say the driver of this black BMW was stabbed to death. 3 passengers were hurt after being stabbed or shot inside of the car. It came in as a call of a car in a ditch. A man in the front passenger seat was shot multiple times. A woman and another man in the back had been stabbed. Troopers say it's unclear what went inside that car before it being a fight, and everybody in the car then either shot or stabbed. They're all a suspect.
Good Lord. That's a heck of a ride.
That was some ride down the interstate. I don't think I've seen anything like that on 24.
This is why I would never want to be an Uber driver.
No.
You know what I mean? Because with my luck, I'd pick up a bunch of people, and that would happen in my car.
Yeah. All of a sudden, there'd be a domestic disturbance.
Yes.
Either that or they had just found a cache of cocaine.
Exactly. And then it's like, oh, Hunter Biden was in this car.
And Fast Mo and Skinny Larry get in with him. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather are next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
6:38, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Dan Mandis here along with Ken Weaver, Johnny B. Want to welcome on into the program Congressman Scott Desjardins, who is joining us, going to give us some, pre-debate predictions. A big night, of course, is tonight. Debate between Donald Trump and Joe Biden. Now, Congressman, you are a medical doctor, as everyone knows, as well as a congressman. So last time you and I spoke about Joe Biden during the State of the Union, where it seemed pretty clear that he was juiced up on something. He came out of there ready to go. And then over time, he just started slowing down. So here's my question for you. Are there signs, because there's a lot of people that believe that the president will be jacked up or juiced up on something, President Trump, former President Trump being one of them. Are there signs that we should look for to see if he may be on something? And we won't be able to see his eyes, the pupils of his eyes, I don't believe. But anything else?
Yeah, that's an interesting point because the State of the Union was a great example. I thought he sounded kind of thick-tongued, but he was a little bit fired up, almost angry at times. Yep. And it was more like Trump in a way with his demeanor. But I don't think there's any question that they're going to do something. There's over-the-road truck driver drugs like Provigil that you can get by prescription that are to keep you awake, alert, and it's shown that people in cognitive decline can make them more clear. So I would be shocked if he's not taking some type of a medication like that. As a physician, there's other things that you can do. If you came into me and you were sick and had a head cold, I could give you a Decadron, which is a steroid, short-acting. It makes you feel better. It makes you feel stronger. And decongestants. There's also all kinds of anti-anxiety medicines. If he's a little nervous, you can prescribe something like that. So I'd say there's a cocktail of medications that are prescription drugs that are not illegal that they would probably look at and using with him. And I don't know whether Trump, he seems pretty fired up most of the time anyway. I don't know if he would be on any kind of medication, but I think you just kind of watch and then you see as the evening progresses if he's able to maintain that level.
Congressman, when we talk about the issues, we talk about there's new polling out this morning that shows that Donald Trump has pulled ahead of Joe Biden even more. They're talking about how this is pre-verdict numbers where Trump has regained that much of a lead. Nate Silver has even come out and said now from 538 that it's no longer a discussion who will win this presidential race. What is your sense as you watch all of this playing out in Washington, D.C.? Number one, do you believe the polls? I'm always, after the red wave that never came, a little suspicious of the polling. But number two, though, the issues seem to be all on Donald Trump's side.
Yeah, the issues certainly are on Donald Trump's side. And yes, on polling. I don't trust polling. I'm not sure how they do it anymore. It used to be you had to call landlines and you couldn't call cell phones, and now there's a mix and there's all kinds of balances to get accurate reports. In 2016, there was a hidden group of Trump supporters that didn't want to admit they supported him because he was taking such flack in the media.
Yep.
So, if somebody asked them, they denied that they supported him. I think that in 2020 that changed some, but right now Biden's performance is so weak. Maybe Democrats secretly are saying they support Biden and don't. So anyways, it's really hard to trust the polls, but I do think tonight's debate is going to be extremely important for both candidates. And, I don't know who has the advantage with CNN moderating it. My biggest concern is the behavior of the moderators. It's no secret that Jake Tapper and Dana Bash are not fans of Donald Trump. They have openly criticized him for years before he ever was elected president. And I just wonder how much influence they'll have on the debate. If Joe Biden starts to stumble or get stuck, will they interject and rescue him, change topics, try to save him? Obviously, they'll try to antagonize Trump. They're going to try to get him off message. I'm assuming Trump's going to try to be a little calmer, more focused on issues. But are they going to poke him about his felony conviction? Are they going to poke him about his election denial or his stolen election, trying to get him angry and off topic? And I think the moderators are going to play a huge role tonight in how the debate actually turns out.
Listen, my mom and dad, they used to always tell me that you can't control what people say to you or what other people do. You can only control your own behavior. And I hope somebody has that conversation with Donald Trump, because in my opinion, this is a critical debate for a couple of different reasons. Number one, it's the first debate, but also number two is because the more Biden speaks, the more flustered and lost he tends to get. And so, as you and I have spoken about before, when there is an engagement between Biden and someone else, Biden tends to react and he sort of snaps back into focus. I think it's a good thing that the microphones are going to be turned off while the other candidate is speaking. I've got a couple more questions for Congressman Scott DesJarlais coming up next. Busy day out on the roadway, 6:45. Time to check the traffic. Thank you very much. Today, partly cloudy and a high of 87 degrees. Appreciate you listening to Nashville's Morning News on WTN. Congressman Scott DesJarlais is joining us. All right, so let's talk a little bit about a couple of different things. One of the things that I've heard is that the Democrats, and this actually makes sense, the Democrats are actually pushing for this debate to happen, despite the fact that Donald Trump has been demanding a drug test. That actually was their off-ramp if they wanted to leave the debate and not have the debate, because they could have easily said, we're not going to put up or tolerate, with this kind of abusive behavior, but they chose to continue the debate. Have you heard anything in Washington, D.C., where the Democrats are actually seeing this debate sort of like an off-ramp, where if Biden just completely shanks it, then this is their opportunity to say, you know what? It's time for us to change candidates.
Yeah, certainly there's been that talk. If Biden has a Biden moment where he freezes up, he locks up, he mumbles, he gets incoherent, he looks old, he looks fragile, which I think is very possible over the course of 90 minutes. He, as you said, he was pretty disciplined during the State of the Union. But I do think that the timing of this debate allows for something like that to happen. And if he has a terrible performance, they may on a national stage say, hey, we got to shift gears. Trump is leading in the polls. He's leading on the issues. There's any number of issues, whether it's border, economy, the world stage in terms of military respect and image. Trump is definitely in the driver's seat on those issues. So, that a lot of people say if Biden just stays alive during 90 minutes and has no major screw-ups, that'll be a success because the expectations are so low. But yes, I do think that that narrative is out there. I don't know who they would replace him with, but certainly Kamala Harris would not be that choice, and it would be an interesting shakeup. But to me, there's no way this president's capable of serving another 4 years. I never thought he would get this far. So an early debate, I think, strategically certainly has to be taking that into consideration.
Congressman, I was talking about this earlier in this hour. 16 Nobel Prize winners signing this letter decrying Donald Trump's economic policies and saying that inflation will skyrocket if the former president ends up back in office. I mentioned earlier about how this is a very familiar tactic for the Biden administration. They did this with those 51 former and current intelligence officials talking about the laptop from hell was Russian disinformation. They've used this tactic a number of different times to sell various issues where they have these experts and so forth. I failed to mention that one of those economists was none other than Janet Yellen's husband. I mean, that tells you how BS of a story this is.
Yeah, I mean, there's no question they use those tactics, but everyone listening to us this morning knows when they go to the grocery store, you're paying 20, 30% more, maybe 50% more for almost everything you buy. So the average American feels it, and they say statistically the average American is paying $1,000 more per month for goods and services. We remember when President Trump was in office, that was not the case. So he can he can try all these angles and say that things are going to be worse under Trump when we all know they were better. It's going to be an awful tough sell. It's almost laughable. But, Trump needs to stay disciplined, and he needs to promote his vision. He needs to remind people of what things were like under him. He needs to not dwell on the election or, take the bait and get angry over his convictions. He needs to say that stuff playing out in court. He can defend himself appropriately. He shouldn't just sit there and take the punches. But he needs to stay on script. He needs to deliver a message, a plan for the future, and remind people what it's like and how it can be. So they can try those narratives, but I don't think people have a lot of faith in the media. The people who are locked in on Trump are locked in. The people locked in on Biden are locked in. But there is a group of either independents or moderates that haven't made up their mind yet. And tonight I could go a long way into helping them decide.
So I think for me, you brought up a great point where if they continue to try to prod Trump on stolen election, January 6th and so forth, although it doesn't seem like the former president has been doing a lot of formal preparing for this debate, I do wonder if he actually has been. They're just not really talking about it. But I think you're right that is what the president needs to do, is just the more that they talk about it, the more he refuses to talk about it and talks about Joe Biden, his performance, and what's going to happen if Biden ends up in office for another 4 years. I'm kind of curious. In Washington, D.C., I've only been there a couple of times, but what does everybody do on a night like tonight? Do you have debate watch parties? Do Republicans all get together and watch the debate together, or how does that work? What does everybody do?
It'll be a mixed bag. Some people will just watch it themselves. There'll be certain areas that the debate is watched. We're working through appropriation bills, so I'm guessing we'll be. Actually, I think we're done voting at 4:30 today, so there will be an opportunity for people to gather. But it's just there's cliques in Washington, just like any walks of life. So
I bet
there'll
there
be a mixture of both.
All right, very good. Well, appreciate you joining us here on Nashville's Morning News, and maybe if you have time, I can have you back on tomorrow for some post-debate analysis, and I'll try and get in touch with you off the air and see if you are available. Speaking of, by the way, and thank you, Congressman Desjardins. Speaking of debate watch parties, don't forget tonight, beginning at 3, we're going to go till 8, then the debate starts, and you can hear it live on WTN. But Brian Wilson is going to be broadcasting live from Hop Springs in Murfreesboro. So, of course, Brian's going to be there. I'm going to be there. Chris and Matt, we'll all be there. And a whole bunch of, we hope, of WTN listeners will be there as well. Now, people are asking me a couple of different things. Number one, is Ken Weaver going to be there? Ken, earlier today, he did say that there's a possibility that he'll be there to enjoy an adult beverage or two. John is non-committal, so maybe we can try and somehow convince Johnny that his presence is also wanted there tonight by a lot of listeners, because people love to see Johnny be as well. We do have Fat Maddie's Pizza. It's going to have a food truck that's going to be there. That's going to be a lot of fun, too. So these gatherings of WTN listeners, I used to hate these. I love these now. I love fun. I love meeting folks, and I love just talking the issues with people. And so if you want to come out, people are asking me, how do you get tickets? You don't need a ticket. You just need to show up. And we're going to be inside. It's going to be a nice 87 or so degrees. Maybe by the time the afternoon continues on 3, 4, 5 o'clock, it'll get a little cooler as well. So come on out, and we're going to just all going to be hanging out, talking, eating Fat Maddie's Pizza. I may have an adult beverage.
Just one?
Well, I got to be on the air, so.
How about if you and I race each other?
Yeah, you want to do that?
Yeah.
We could have.
See how many we can have.
We can have some. I still do want to do a drinking game, but any drinking game with me is going to lead to 1 or 2 drinks, and I'm just totally useless for the rest of the night. And I have to drive home. There is that as well. But we are going to have a lot of fun, so come on out. Details at 997WTN.com. Want to tell you about my friends at DT McCall's. Listen, whether it's really hot or really cold, no matter where you live, what kind of house you have, how old it is, how new it is, DT McCall's has all you need to all you need for your home, your yard, your garage. They've got lawn mowers, patio furniture, and a whole lot more. So if you need something for your home, stop by one of DT McCall's 5 locations. You can also find them online, dtmccalls.com. Whenever I need something for my house, that is the first place that I go, is their website. Last thing I bought from DT McCall's was my oven. They've got all kinds of kitchen appliances. My oven broke, and I had a brand new oven, courtesy of DT McCall's. Within a couple of days, they had the right oven, the right color, and they delivered it for free, and they hauled away the old one. That's what they'll do for you at DT McCall's. They've been in Middle Tennessee for over 100 years. They've lasted so long because of that customer service and great quality of products. So many ways to save. All you need to do is go to one place, my place, DT McCall's, Carthage, Franklin, Cookeville, Lafayette, Lebanon. Always online, dtmccalls.com. Ken Weaver at 6:54. What is coming up in the news?
Well, you got to hear what Tennessee 4th District Congressman Scott Desjardins, who happens to be a doctor, just told us to watch for during tonight's debate with President Biden's cognitive issues coming up at 7 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got an officer-involved shooting here in Nashville. Happened at Bellevue West Apartments after a stabbing. We're told that one person is dead, one person transported to the hospital. Witnesses say they heard about 4 gunshots around 4:30 this morning, and then a lot of police officers showed up. Metro Police say a 27-year-old man was stabbed by his 25-year-old brother there at the Bellevue West Apartments. The 25-year-old was shot during a confrontation with police. The stabbing victim is in the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. And Jim Ryan says today, June 27th, not Thanksgiving or Christmas, is expected to be the busiest air travel day of 2024 so far.
The 53,677 commercial, cargo, and charter flights expected in the air today will be a one-day record for this year, but it won't stand for long. The Transportation Security Administration expects to screen over 3 million people tomorrow, the peak day during the Independence Day holiday, which runs through July 8th.
Election 2024, Davidson County Elections Administrator Jeff Roberts telling Fox 17 those letters the state sent to 14,000 voters asking for proof of citizenship shouldn't be alarming. It's about election integrity.
I would not say it's targeted because we do this match. The state sends us a list of names on a fairly regular basis.
Roberts says if you received one of the letters, go ahead, do what it asks to ensure a fair election. But there are some who received the letters who are concerned. And then you have Nashville Democrat State Rep John Ray Clemens claiming it's a type of voter intimidation. Well, we've got some polling ahead of tonight's big debate. Here's Perry Russum.
Trump and Biden are neck and neck in the polls. A new poll shows Trump with a 4-point lead nationwide. Other polls show Trump leading in most battleground states. Another survey shows an unprecedented amount of double haters, Americans who prefer neither candidate. 25% now saying they do not like Biden or Trump, compared to just 13% before the 2020 election.
And here's what Tennessee 4th District Congressman Scott Desjardins, who is a doctor, told WTN's Nashville's Morning News regarding Biden's performance tonight.
I don't think there's any question that they're going to do something. There's over-the-road truck driver drugs like Provigil that you can get by prescription that are to keep you awake, alert, and it's shown that people in cognitive decline can make them more clear. So I would be shocked if he's not taking some type of a medication like that. As a physician, there's other things that you can do. If you came into me and you were sick and had a head cold, I could give you Decadron, which is a steroid, short-acting. It makes you feel better. It makes you feel stronger. And decongestants. There's also, all kinds of anti-anxiety medicines. If he's a little nervous, you can prescribe something like that. So I'd say there's a cocktail of medications that are prescription drugs that are not illegal that, they would probably look at and using with him. And I don't know whether Trump, he seems pretty fired up most of the time anyway. I don't know if he would be on any kind of medication. But, yeah, I think you just kind of watch and then you see as the evening progresses if he's able to maintain that level.
Join us tonight for WTN's Presidential Debate Watch Party. Starts at 3 o'clock, goes until 8 at Hop Springs in Murfreesboro. Hear the debate live right here and online. Market Numbers Report brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com. Dow futures down 54, S&P down 6, NASDAQ down 33. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Hey, it's Dan Mandis, and I am so glad that California Closets has fixed my closet catastrophe. After exact measuring and planning, they came over and got to work. Yeah, once it was all plotted out on their 3D CAD system, the pieces are measured, cut, and precisely installed into my space. It was clean, fast, and professional, and above all, my new closets look and function great. Now, this was my dormer, and now this is my new dormer thanks to California Closets. Look at all of this added space for shirts and shoes, you name it, and it is cut so precisely, simply amazing. And my old closet that has now been reborn as the ultimate in style and functionability, making the best use of the space that I had. They can work on just about anything: bedrooms, garages, home offices, closets, pantries, and so much more. Find them online, CaliforniaClosets.com, and see what they can do for you. You can schedule a free design consultation. Mention my name, CaliforniaClosets.com.
Information fueled.
Opinion driven. This is Nashville's Morning News with Dan Mandis.
And so, my fellow Americans,
We talk news.
708 Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Welcome on in. It's debate day across Middle Tennessee and America. Joe Biden goes into this debate clearly wounded, clearly losing in the polls. Nate Silver from 538 has even come out and basically said that this campaign is over. And clearly Donald Trump is going to be victorious. I'm not going to go that far. Anything could happen, and certainly anything could happen tonight. But, the campaign does continue. I thought it was really interesting because the Trump campaign is doing, it seems to me, like they're doing a lot of things right. Now, there was a barbershop roundtable that was a big discussion among black voters in Atlanta. And it was hosted by VP Possibility Byron Donalds. And so it's Byron Donalds. Ben Carson was there as well, and some black media folks as well, and just a good town hall of a bunch of black folks that are conservative. And so the president called in.
Mr. President, how you doing?
And it was a great conversation because you have all of these questions that, the people want to know answers to. And Donald Trump, unlike Joe Biden, Donald Trump is not sequestered trying to prepare for this debate. He's been out on the campaign trail. And so one question that Trump had was about regulations and about all of the regulations that not only he was able to eliminate, but also Joe Biden has been putting back onto the books. And that, of course, stifles the economy.
Well, as you know, I cut taxes and regulations more than any other president. We had the biggest tax cut, bigger even than the Reagan tax cuts. And I also cut regulations far more than any other president. And they have put a lot of them back already. We will get them cut so fast.
Yeah, so that is the president. Remember, former president, remember the first 2 years of Donald Trump's presidency, he cut nearly, just a lot of regulations. He cut nearly 8 regulations for every new significant regulation. Remember that he had Executive Order 13771, where he was to cut 2 regulations for every new regulation imposed. That was a big campaign promise from 2016. He ultimately ended up cutting nearly 8 regulations for every new significant regulation. This is from the Washington Examiner before Trump's final year in office. The Trump administration, under orders to slash Obama-era regulations, has also issued the fewest new rules since the government began counting them back in 1975. For a third year, Trump's administration has broken the record for issuing the fewest regulations and rules, a radical departure from the 8 years of former President Barack Obama. So when you talk about the strength of each candidate when it comes to the issues, I think when it comes to regulations, clearly you have Donald Trump that, I wouldn't say he edges out. He obliterates Joe Biden on regulations and the cutting of regulations, because you and I both know that when you have a lot of regulations, what that does is it stifles the economy. Then the question was about gas prices.
I want to tell them that black folk will vote for him to get gas under $1.
No, well, I'll tell you, I got it pretty close. We had it for a little while. We talk about $1.87, and now it's on its way up. As you see what's going on. I'm seeing $4. I'm seeing $4.50, depending on where you buy. But we actually had it to $1.87, and we had it to $1.52 at one point. Wow. Different points. But we had the gasoline as low as it's been in a long time. So I don't know if I can guarantee $1, but we're going to get it as low as we can, and that's a big spur for the economy.
You know what the thing is about this conversation, and when I was cutting up this audio this morning, one of the things I noticed is that Trump is able to just have conversations with people, which is not something that Joe Biden can do. Now, remember, the average gas price with Trump was around, $257? Biden's average is around $386, but it skyrocketed at various points, as we all remember, under Joe Biden. Now, oftentimes you'll have people talk about how the president has nothing to do with the price of gas, and there are worldwide factors a president has nothing to do with that can lead to a rise and fall of gasoline prices. That may be true, but the bottom line for me is this. Which party favors domestic oil production? Republicans and Donald Trump. It was Biden who made it incredibly difficult for oil and gas companies to operate on day one. We talked about this for like a year. He killed the Keystone Pipeline. That didn't help. He also stopped all new exploration and canceled oil and gas lease sales in Alaska and the Gulf of Mexico, among many other things. So the more that you look at these issues and you look at what is best for your pocketbook and our economy and our strength as a nation, again, that's point Donald Trump. He was also asked if he believes that the moderators will give him a fair shake tonight.
Well, I think it would be good for them if they did it. I think probably not. Am I going to get a fair? Probably not. But it would be very good for CNN. They're having a lot of ratings problems. I think it would be very good for CNN, actually, in terms of its credibility. It'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, I think that, to me, that's one of the most intriguing things about this evening is, will Donald Trump get a fair shot? Remember I monologued about this yesterday, where you've got Jake Tapper and Dana Bash, and they know because Donald Trump and a lot of other folks have called them out for their comments of the past. Jake Tapper likening Donald Trump to Adolf Hitler. And so they have to deal with what they have done in the past, because here's the thing, if they end up showing their bias, and if they end up not fair to Donald Trump, you know what's going to happen, right? What's going to happen is that will only lead more people to support Donald Trump, which is the last thing that they want. Because let's face it, the vast majority of Americans, and the polling shows this, the vast majority of Americans believe that Donald Trump is being treated unfairly by the judicial system and by the Biden administration. And so if the moderators do what we believe Dana Bash and Jake Tapper would do, if they end up going after Donald Trump and showing their bias, and they treat Biden with kid gloves and they go after Donald Trump big time, that's only going to help Donald Trump. And knowing that they hate Donald Trump and they want Joe Biden to win, well, they're in a sort of precarious position. Not to mention you've got all of these fact checkers and journalists that are going to be doing their thing as well. It is 7:16 on Nashville's Morning News. Time to check the roads. Partly cloudy today and a high of 87. I mean, thinking about the fact checkers and the journalists, who do you think that benefits that the moderators are not going to necessarily be participating in the fact checking? We've seen moderators do that in the past, and it causes a big old crap storm. But, what if Biden, as he has done many times, comes out and says, when he took the oath of office, inflation was at 9%. Basically lying to the American people and saying that Donald Trump left office with 9% inflation. It wasn't even close to 9%. At that point, do the moderators step in and say, no, Mr. President, that is a lie? Or is that up to Donald Trump? Now, Trump has not been doing a lot of prep work for this debate, at least not that we can tell. Maybe he's doing some things behind the scene, but by and large, he's been out on the campaign trail. So one of the things that I have said about Donald Trump, I said it in the 5, and I'm going to say it here, is that I have seen him at times lose opportunities to absolutely slam dunk on opponents because he is a little short on facts and figures. And that's going to be an issue if he's up there with Joe Biden and Biden is spewing a bunch of nonsense and he's telling lies about Donald Trump and how Trump did as a president and what he can do moving forward. Trump has to be prepared to slam dunk on Joe Biden, to put him in his place, to fact check Joe Biden right there when it happens. Trump needs to be able to do that. You can't just depend on, catchy names and so forth. No. This has got to be for Donald Trump. It's got to be a mix of issues, policies, and connecting with the American people. Because it's clear that of the two candidates, Joe Biden is not connecting. Who is connecting? Donald Trump, especially with the black community.
In the black community, it's been made a big deal about how you have been kind of railroaded here as far as your court cases go and everything. Yeah. And the support that you'll receive from the black community is kind of like a sympathetic kind of support because it's understood that we've received similar, not even similar, but basically we've been railroaded since the day we came here. We felt that way, right? What can you do about those Alvin Braggs on your side that have been doing such railroading from the time? What can we do about those Fonnie Willises and Alvin Braggs that are right now sending some poor black person to jail for some crime that they're doing?
So this is something that Trump said quite some time ago in a number of different places. And at the time, I wasn't sure if it was the right thing for Trump to say, but it does seem like this message, this issue of Trump being railroaded, he does have that in common with people who have also been the victims of rampant persecution. And so for the former president, this is favorable for Donald Trump in this election cycle. This is how the president responded.
But since that happened, the black support, I think my representatives will tell you this, the black support has gone through the roof.
Yes, it has.
And I guess they equate it to problems that they've had. But since this has happened, like the mugshot is the best. It just beat Elvis Presley and Frank Sinatra by a lot, by the way. It beat him by a lot. But that's the number one mugshot of all time. It's really an amazing thing. Since it happened, the support among the black community and the Hispanic community has skyrocketed. It's been amazing.
Number one mugshot of all time.
The greatest of all time. Greatest mugshot. Most famous.
Is that true? Does he now have the number one mugshot of all time?
Probably. He's probably right.
He had O.J. Simpson. Yeah. That was a big one. I'm going to have to fact check that. I'm just curious.
Let's look it up, man.
That's quite a boast.
Well,
who has the number one
mugshot? I'm beating Frank Sinatra and Elvis Presley
by a lot.
By a lot.
That's what he said.
We have the mugshot in here in the studio.
Gosh. We sure do.
So there you go. It's kind of funny. Donald Trump is looking down on all of us here in the WTN studio.
Just as he likes it.
Well, this says Bill Gates, 1977.
Bill Gates has the number one mugshot?
Taken in Albuquerque, New Mexico for driving without a license and running a stop sign. A year later, that's when his startup company, Microsoft, he moved his company, Microsoft, to Seattle and famously received 3 speeding tickets. In his Porsche.
Bill Gates did.
Yeah.
No kidding.
So he's the number one.
Frank Sinatra, number 2. Jay-Z, number 3. Eminem, number 4.
Really?
And everybody remembers Nick Nolte.
Oh, yes.
Oh, my Lord.
Oh, that was classic.
That's number 5.
That was a great mugshot, man.
In fact, that's probably one of my favorites.
One of the best ever.
Yeah, it's one of the best.
James Brown, number 9. Robert Downey Jr.,
so
number 10.
Where does Trump get that he's the number one?
Well, it's Trump.
It's called his mind.
You know what? He's number one in our hearts. We can put it that way.
There you go.
Yeah, right. He's not on this list.
7:22, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. By the way, let's see, 2666 says, Dan, you sound nervous. Do I sound nervous to you guys?
No.
No?
No.
Sound like Dan.
Do
Sound
this
like
every
Brother
day, man.
Mandis.
Every day, everything's fine.
Yeah.
I'm not nervous about tonight. You guys nervous about tonight? How Trump's going to do?
Nah.
I'm not nervous.
I mean, you know, I am nervous about about Jake Tapper and Dana Bash doing this.
Yeah, but I think there's something to be said for if they treat him unfairly and the people see that, then it's just like the convictions.
But see, that's what I'm saying. This country has awakened from all the lies that the mainstream media and the leftists perpetrated since 2016. I think this country has awakened.
It's like a giant red pill has just been distributed to.
Yeah, and it's like you and Chris were talking about yesterday. The majority of people are going to read about and hear about this debate on social media.
Yeah.
That's where they're going to get the details from this thing.
Yep, their cuts will be out there. Of course, I'll be playing them for you tomorrow as well. So I'm really looking forward to this. Hopefully you'll listen to it on WTN if you're out in the car. If you are at home, I know that you're going to watch it. But rest assured, we'll have all the relevant audio clips tomorrow morning right here on Nashville's Morning News. Dan Mandis here from My Patriot Supply, where the phrase that pays is, if you're not preparing, you're failing. Now, what does that mean? It means that we have rogue nations hacking into our hospitals and car dealerships. Our grids, of course, those are at risk as well. We seem to be on the brink of World War III at any given time. And if you're not preparing for it, you're not going to be ready. Now, My Patriot Supply can help you with a great deal right now on emergency food. Go to preparewithmandis.com and get 4-week emergency food kits for $50 off each. That's right. You're going to save $50 on each 4-week emergency food kit. Plus, they're going to throw in free shipping as well. So go to preparewithmandis.com. That's preparewithmandis.com. These last up to 25 years because of their special packaging. They taste good and offer over 2,000 calories every single day. preparewithmandis.com, and don't forget that great deal right now. You go to preparewithmandis.com. You're going to get a 4-week emergency food kit for $50 off each, and they are going to throw in free shipping. So it is time to stock up. That's preparewithmandis.com. 7:25 on Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Ken Weaver, what's coming up in the news?
We'll tell you about this morning's deadly officer-involved shooting in Nashville at 7:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is Matt Murphy for Members Nutrition. I want to tell you about the Members Nutrition difference, and I want to encourage you to go over to the Members Nutrition website. Number one, they believe at Members Nutrition that they can sell vitamins and supplements at a lower cost point, and they're doing it every single day at membersnutrition.com. Number two, they want to make these products right here in the United States of America, not from some overseas company, and they do that every single day. I encourage you to go to membersnutrition.com. You'll get 50% off your purchase price at checkout. You don't have to put in any codes. Just go to membersnutrition.com. Once again, membersnutrition.com.
7:30 on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got an officer-involved shooting in Nashville, and it's a deadly one. Happened at the Bellevue West Apartments. Witnesses say they heard about 4 gunshots around 4:30 this morning. Metro Police say a 27-year-old man had been stabbed by his 25-year-old brother. The 25-year-old was shot during a confrontation with police. The stabbing victim is in the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. Election 2024, Perry Russum with a preview of tonight's debate.
Biden has been out of the public eye in recent days holding mock debates. He's expected to focus on abortion rights, along with Trump's alleged role in the January 6th riot at the Capitol. Tonight's matchup comes nearly a month after Trump's conviction in his hush money trial. Trump is expected to focus on border security and the economy, specifically inflation. A new survey finds even among upper-income Americans, those making 6-figure salaries, 1 in 3 now worry about paying their bills.
New polling ahead of tonight's debate shows Trump holds a 4-point lead nationwide and leads in most battleground states. Davidson County Elections Administrator Jeff Roberts telling Fox 17 those letters the state sent to 14,000 voters asking for proof of citizenship shouldn't be alarming. Roberts says it's about election integrity. And as far as putting people in jail for voter fraud,
in Davidson County, I'm not aware of anyone being prosecuted in my tenure.
Fox 17 reports numbers from the Tennessee Administrative Office of the Court show from 2017 to 2022, there were 24 convictions and 2 people cited for misdemeanors. Elsewhere in Middle Tennessee, Wilson County School Board will vote tonight on a gender identity policy. It would require a teacher to let parents know if a student asks to identify as a gender or name that differs from their birth certificate. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Thank you, Ken. 7:32, Nashville's Morning News. The Glock store, this is where I buy all my guns and performance parts. Now, if you haven't visited the Glock store, then you really should, especially if you have any interest whatsoever in the Glock brand. Now, there's a reason why it is called the Glock store, my friends. If it has anything to do with the Glock, anything at all, you can bet it is on the shelf at the Glock store, and if it's not there, it's likely in the warehouse about to be brought out. They do get all the latest stuff. Now, when it comes to performance parts for my own Glock, I do always go to the source, the Glock store, where my performance parts are installed for free while I wait. And of course, I do have those incredible, incomparable Shoot 270 indoor shooting ranges that I've been to. You need to go. No lane range nonsense at the Glock store, just you and the instructor in a private shooting room. Now, I've been to lots of other gun stores in my life, and a lot of them with indoor ranges. But once I did find the Glock store, I knew that I'd found my favorite place to buy and to train, especially to train. That's the Glock store on Air Lane Drive, just off Elm Hill Pike and Briley Parkway. Find them online. It's theglockstore.com, just minutes from the airport and worth the drive from anywhere. Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Listen to this story. Talking about the issues that Biden and Trump are going to be debating tonight. Of course, illegal immigration, tops of the list. I think that and the economy going to be the two big things that we are going to be watching for. An illegal alien who gunned down 2 New York police officers says killing cops is in his culture. Now, what have I been telling you all this time is that we're allowing these folks in and they do things in their home country that is part of their culture. And so they come here and they don't know any different. This guy, Mata, Bernardo Raul Castro Mata, he's 19 years old. He works for the Venezuelan TDA gang. But there's more. It turns out he's living in a shelter. And you know what they found out? They found out that at this particular shelter in New York, these guys are smuggling in guns into the migrant shelter.
According to audio recordings read by prosecutors, Mata claims he was recruited to join the gang to commit robberies. But the most shocking claim, the gang has been smuggling guns into city-run shelters.
Trend they allowed when members were smuggling firearms into city shelters inside food delivery packages. That way they don't have to go through the metal detector.
I mean, do you realize how organized that has to be? Because you've got people on the outside that are smuggling guns in, again, through food deliveries and so forth. And then they go out and they shoot cops and they do all of these other things. Do you know that robberies and grand larceny in this particular area of New York is up 300% since the crush of Biden's migrants or illegal aliens came into this particular part of New York? Yeah. And they do talk about shooting cops.
Police say within the past year, there's been an increase of over 300% in robberies and grand larcenies. NYPD Chief of Detectives Joseph Kenney, who was on the 6 o'clock news earlier this week, says it started back in 2022, 2023, when the influx of migrants started arriving. He says these gang members have no respect for law enforcement.
In fact, that they were learning through intelligence debriefings that they're actually instructed to shoot police officers if confronted.
According to the NYPD, that's what happened on June 3rd when the 2 officers tried to pull Mata over for driving an unregistered scooter the wrong way on a one-way street in East Elmhurst. Mata telling investigators that shooting at police officers is what they do in his home country.
And what have I been telling you? It's awesome. So robberies, grand larceny, is up 300%. You've got these migrants smuggling guns into the migrant center, and they're shooting cops because that's what they do with their home country. So it's on the heels of that I have this audio from none other than Democrat Max Frost. He is a congressman.
Isn't the crime preventable if parole were not happening, of people who are going to end up killing people in this country?
Because a very small percentage of immigrants did something bad, we shouldn't allow the parole program for all people. The question is, because 1 or 2 people did something horrible, we should rip away the benefit from everybody else. And we don't use that logic for anything else in this country.
1 or 2 people did something horrible. So we're talking about, obviously, there's been a number of high-profile murders here in the last couple of months. But it's not just about those high-profile murders. I mean, it's about all of the other things that we're talking about, like in New York, a 300% increase in robberies and grand larceny. That's not 1 or 2 people. And we have vicious gangs that are coming into this country. And this guy, Max Frost, this was on Fox News, heartless comment made by this Democrat. And interesting when he says we don't use that logic for anything else here in America. Well, there's nothing logical about Biden's border policy either. And also that's taking Biden's border policy sort of way out of context. To say that 1 or 2 of these migrants or illegal aliens did a bad thing is just ridiculous. Because it's up to the thousands of crimes that have impacted Americans. But it's not only that. We do have, of course, the women that have been murdered and raped, but what about the crime going up in these migrant areas in New York and Seattle and all of these other places as well? This is a serious issue. Again, 300% of an increase in robberies and grand larceny in New York. What about the American taxpayer dollars going to these folks for free health care, spending cards, a place to stay, and free education? So it's not just the horrific crimes, but it's also the resources that we have to spend on these people. But when he said this,
one or two people did something horrible.
It reminded me of something Ilhan Omar once said.
CARE was founded after 9/11 because they recognized that some people did something.
Some people did something?
Some people did something.
One or two people did something horrible.
No. You want to talk about tone deaf? That is absolutely tone deaf, not only clearly on Ilhan Omar's part, but also on Max Frost. This is emblematic of the Democrats' problems right now, is that the American people are facing serious issues. And basically for Max Frost, a sitting Democrat, to say, yeah, one or two people did something bad, but that doesn't mean they're all bad. There's a lot more at play here than just the high-profile murders. And it's not just one or two. I mean, it's like every couple days, there is another one, to the point where it's unfortunately becoming so common that it's becoming wallpaper. And it's just something that is embedded in the news, but it's no longer the top story. It's going down to 3 or 4. The problem that we have in America is there's so much of this going on. People are sadly getting used to it. I never will. Most of you never will. But basically, he's dismissing it as, just a couple of bad guys doing bad things. But overall, there's no problems. I just told you all of these problems. So this is, as far as Max Frost, this is the Democrats basically dismissing the murders of American cities, the murders of American citizens, the murders of and the rapes of women all across America, killing of cops as well. We see this over and over again. But, when Frost says
one or two people did something horrible,
to me is akin to
some people did something.
Just completely tone deaf. It is 7:46. Time to check the roads on WTN. Today, partly cloudy and a high of 87. Appreciate you listening to Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. A rather ridiculous moment this morning on CNN where it was like breaking news. Yep. They were all excited about something Donald Trump said about Taylor Swift. You know what he said? He said that Taylor Swift was beautiful.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, my.
And to CNN, that was some sort of breaking news moment. Now, I'm going to play you the comment from Donald Trump because it's clear, at least to me, that it's really not a big deal. But here's what he said. He was in a Variety interview. And he was asked, basically the question, what do you think of Taylor Swift?
What do you think about Taylor Swift? One of the most famous people right now.
Yeah, I think she's beautiful, very beautiful. I find her very beautiful. I think she's liberal. She probably doesn't like Trump, but I hear she's very talented. But I think she's very beautiful, actually. Unusually. Beautiful.
So there you heard it. Donald Trump finds Taylor Swift unusually beautiful. Which, by the way, I might have a slight disagreement on the unusually beautiful part, but whatever. So
I can't believe
5 times he threw down that she was beautiful. Okay, whatever. But then part of the story here is how Erin Burnett frames this story.
5 times beautiful in just those few seconds. Ramin Satuda is interviewed Trump, and he's out front. And I know, Ramin, that you spent more than 4 hours over the course of 6 different interviews. So Taylor Swift, obviously, he railed against her for endorsing Biden at a meeting with Republicans on Capitol Hill. He seems to have a real focus on her, an obsession with her. Tell me more about it.
So this is what they're going with.
5 times beautiful in just those few seconds. Ramin Satuda is interviewed Trump, and he's out.
And it's like they're trying to make Donald Trump into a predator. So somehow now he's a predator, and that's what it sounds like they're trying to spin here. He was asked a question. It's a loaded question about Taylor Swift, and he didn't really know what else to say. He doesn't know her music. He knows that she's not a fan of his, and he also knows that anything that he says negative could awaken the Swifties. And trust me when I say nobody wants to do that.
No.
And so the writer from Vanity Fair was obviously hoping for a much juicier answer than what he got, which was basically Donald Trump saying that Taylor Swift was unusually beautiful. And so to me, Trump's answer is honest and spot on. And actually, this is my takeaway. It was actually a disciplined answer. I think the old Trump may have been more aggressive about his comments, but here he's just leaving it alone. But don't tell that to Vanity Fair, who went on and on.
It's interesting because in this audio clip, we have an intersection of 2 of the things that matter most to Donald Trump. Fame, which Taylor Swift is one of the most famous people on the planet, and his perception of beauty. And I think even Donald Trump knows that Taylor Swift is so famous that he can't go up against her, even though she didn't endorse him in 2020. And so you hear him kind of trying to negotiate what to say about her. And later on in the clip, I even ask if he's familiar with Taylor's music, and he says no. But this is his way of trying to say that he likes Taylor Swift in the hopes that somehow Taylor Swift will like him back.
So it's kind of funny because, you know, Erin Burnett is trying to make something out of nothing, and she goes with...
It was so fascinating in that interview with you, just going back to the word beautiful, because that's the one word that he knows he could use and he was able to say about her.
And then she just kind of punted. Then she just sort of moved on to Kim Kardashian. And so kind of funny that was a focus of CNN.
And almost like you're watching Entertainment Tonight.
Yes, that's exactly right.
Instead of a news program.
Well, and I like how they talk about how Trump is obsessed with celebrities. No. Trump is going to real people.
That's exactly right,
Biden
Ken.
is the one. Democrats are the ones obsessed with celebrities.
And he wasn't the one that brought up Taylor Swift.
No, it was the interviewer from Vanity Fair.
If you're obsessed, you'd be the one to bring it up.
All right, 7:52, Nashville's Morning News on WTN. So who do you trust when it comes to your money? Now, I turned to Paul Winkler years ago, and I still use him today. Now, a lot of these other financial folks, they do say different things, but those same people all have something to sell. So, of course, they're pitching their own products. Now, if you worked for a car company, wouldn't you say that your car is the best? Well, it's the same thing with banks and insurance agents who sell investment products. Now, Paul Winkler is looking out for your best interest, and he's not going to try and sell you something. He's actually going to teach you how to relax about money. Now, you do need to know that I get paid every time I do these commercials, but I wouldn't be doing them if I didn't believe in Paul Winkler and his guidance. And you will too when you call him for a free consultation. 615-851-1950. 615-851-1950. Paul's got 10 offices across Middle Tennessee. No doubt one near you. Find him online. As always, tell him Dan Mandis told you to reach out. PaulWinkler.com. That's PaulWinkler.com. 615-851-1950. 7:53, Ken Weaver, what's coming up in the news?
Right, we're going to tell you about the deadly officer-involved shooting here in Nashville this morning and new polling ahead of tonight's debate that may be killing the mainstream media to report. Coming up at 8 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
7:57, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Don't forget our big debate watch party tonight, 3 to 8, Hot Springs in Murfreesboro. People are asking me when I'm going to be there. I think I'll probably arrive around 4. And I'm going to be there probably until the debate starts. Then I may skedaddle because I've got an early day the next day, as you know. But looking forward to seeing you folks out there. Hot Springs in Murfreesboro tonight beginning at 3. Brian's going to broadcast live. Me, Chris, Matt, we're all going to be there. Fat Maddie's Pizza is going to have one of their food trucks there as well. So looking forward to seeing you there as well. Please come. That is all the details on the website, 997WTN.com.
Eight o'clock on the dot. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Had an officer-involved shooting in Nashville this morning. Happened at the Bellevue West Apartments. Happened after a stabbing, according to Metro Police. Witnesses tell Channel 4 they heard about 4 gunshots around 4:30 this morning. Metro Police say a 27-year-old man had been stabbed by his 25-year-old brother. The 25-year-old was shot during a confrontation with police and died. The stabbing victim is in the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. Election 2024, new polling ahead of tonight's debate. ABC political director Rick Klein.
Inflation, by far the biggest. 50% of voters say that's a big factor. Immigration next on the list. Then you've got political extremism and abortion, crime, and some other issues. And this is striking. Donald Trump is seen as better handling all of the top issues, both of the biggies, inflation and immigration. Trump, a 10-point edge in trust to handle inflation, immigration, a 12-point edge. It's only when you get a little lower down that priority list into political extremism and abortion rights that you just start to see a Biden advantage.
Yeah, join us at WTN's presidential debate watch party at Hot Springs in Murfreesboro. Starts at 3, goes until 8. Then hear the debate live on air and online. Here in Tennessee, Nashville's top election official, Davidson County Election Administrator Jeff Roberts, telling Fox 17 people should not be alarmed if they get one of those 14,000 letters the state sent to voters asking for proof of citizenship because they may not have been naturalized when they got their driver's license or ID.
I would not say it's targeted because we do this match. The state sends us a list of names on a fairly regular basis.
Robert says if you received one of the letters, go ahead and do what it asks to ensure a fair election. But there are some who received the letter who are concerned. And then you have Nashville Democrat State Rep John Ray Clemens claiming it's a type of voter intimidation. Right now in Nashville, BNA has its first fallen soldier cart. It will be offered every time an active, reserve, or retired military member's remains need a transfer to their final resting place. Daniel Brosh of the Fallen Soldier Program says it started with Alaska Airlines in 2011.
This is a veteran. The purpose of that card is to make sure that there's never a time where they're treated like cargo.
Brosh telling News 2 that these cards are available for any airline at BNA and the 16 other airports around the country where the program is in place. Got a food recall. Smoked salmon sold at Kroger being recalled in Tennessee, Kentucky, Alabama, and Arkansas, 12 other states too. It might be contaminated with listeria, which can cause severe illness, especially in pregnant women and people with compromised immune systems. They are the Foppen smoked Norwegian salmon slices sold in 8-ounce packages, and you can take it back for a refund. Market Numbers Report brought to you by Beacon Capital Management. Online at beaconcm.com. Dow futures down 68, S&P down 1, NASDAQ down 9. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Information fueled, opinion driven. This is Nashville's Morning News with Dan Mandis.
And so, my fellow Americans,
we talk news.
8:06, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Good morning to your friends. Just saw a headline on CNN. President Biden is planning to frame January 6th as a 9/11 type event, as an era-defining moment. You know, as important as January 6th was for the Democrats, clearly, in my opinion, it's not a 9/11 type moment. It's just not. You had a couple hundred people that got out of control, period. Now, what you could say is that it was an era-defining moment in the sense that the Democrats used it to full political advantage. And even to this day, they're trying to use it to its full political advantage. And I will tell you that I believe that that will be a jump the shark moment for the president. Because we've seen polling here in the last couple of months where people are like over this. They're over the drama of Joe Biden. They're over the drama of the Democrats constantly politicizing January 6th. And as bad of a day as that was, it was clearly not nearly the scope of 9/11, obviously. And I don't know if that is the extent of what Joe Biden's going to say. But the bottom line is, this is something that he continues to do. He continues to try to utilize January 6th for political purposes, to his political advantage. And here's the thing, friends, it's not working. New polling shows that the people simply are not buying Joe's narrative about January 6th and Donald Trump. They're just not. When the American people were asked in polling, and I think this is the second poll now, when the American people were asked, who do you trust more with democracy? You know what they said? Donald Trump. By a strong majority, they said Donald Trump. And so for me, the more that we listen to Joe Biden prattle on about January 6th and how Donald Trump is a threat to our democracy, the more you realize that he's got nothing. 66% of the American people say the convictions of Donald Trump make no difference. 68%, fact check myself, 68% said the convictions of Donald Trump make absolutely no difference at all. Around a fifth of Republicans responded, saying that Trump's convictions made them more likely to support him in November, while only 5% of GOP voters said that the verdict turns them away from the former president. There's more polling that's out there today. Trump gets a vote of confidence as he heads into tonight's debate. Just a few tidbits really quickly, because I'm not going to hit you over the head with a bunch of numbers. Trump over Biden, 48 to 42%, 10% said they didn't know or refused to vote. But by and large, you do have Trump winning. In the polling, Nate Silver from 538, this has been a big topic of conversation, said that this election is no longer a toss-up. And he is, by the way, one of the top pollsters in America, perhaps the world, I don't know. Polling expert Nate Silver has revealed his forecasting model for the 2024 presidential debate. It doesn't look good for Joe Biden. The election guru's prediction suggests that Donald Trump is favored to beat Biden, and it's not even close. There's factors, of course, to consider in the next few months, but by and large, he says, yeah, it's not even close. The Washington Post and George Mason University, who is more trusted to be a better steward for democracy? Now, again, it is important to note, CNN, they're saying that Biden is planning to frame January 6th as a 9/11 type event, as an era-defining event. Number one, I don't believe that that day itself, as horrible as it was, era-defining, I think perhaps that's debatable. But the fact that you have the Democrats, and they've taken advantage of this over and over again, is certainly something that has been a big topic of conversation. And with all of that the Democrats have done to try to hang January 6th on Donald Trump, people still trust Donald Trump with democracy more than Joe Biden. I'm going to think it's funny. Swing state polling shows a big advantage for Trump when it comes to who is more trusted, when it is who's going to be a better steward for democracy. Donald Trump or Joe Biden? It'll be Donald Trump. So Biden has been running around saying he's going to save democracy from Donald Trump. And that audio and those speeches, it's just not working for Joe Biden. Pollsters interviewed voters in Arizona, Georgia, Michigan, Nevada, and Wisconsin, 6 states that Biden won over Trump in 2020. 38% of so-called deciders in 6 swing states say Donald Trump is a better steward for democracy. That is in comparison to 29% of deciders who say the same thing of Joe Biden, who has centered his entire campaign around characterizing Donald Trump as an authoritarian threat. So Trump 38% and Biden 29%. So in case you're keeping score, you've got Biden losing on almost every single issue. And you've got now Biden, because he's losing on every single issue except abortion. Now you have him, and he's been trying to do this. He's trying to talk about January 6th and how that is Trump's fault and he is a threat to democracy. And that's not working either. And by the way, in the polling, they say a decider in this sense is those who are likely to swing the election. Were determined by whether they fit into one or more of these key groups. 18 to 25-year-olds, those who voted in one or more of these key groups. You've got 18 to 25-year-olds. You also have those who have only voted in one of the past 2 presidential elections, those who switched their votes between 2016 and 2020, and those who didn't definitely plan to vote for Donald Trump or Joe Biden. But listen, when you simply look at all voters, Trump is beating Biden 44 to 33% when it comes to who will be a better steward for democracy. So there you go. So then what does Joe Biden talk about today? Tonight, he comes in and he is, with the exception of abortion, he's losing on everything. And Donald Trump is going in, wind in his sails. He's leading in all the polling, and all he has to do is let Joe Biden bury himself. It is 8:15. Time to check the roads on WTN. Thank you very much. At 8:15, as far as your weather goes, partly cloudy today and a high of 87 degrees. Thanks for listening to Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. The big issue, of course, tonight, 2 things. It's going to be the economy and illegal immigration. In the news today, I don't know if you folks are big Olive Garden fans. Sales are down, and so they're going to raise prices. This was a big thing yesterday on the internet. Sales are down, so they are going to raise prices up to 3%, not just Olive Garden, but across its massive portfolio of restaurants, including Longhorn Steakhouse, Ruth's Chris Steakhouse, and something called Yard House, which I've never been to. But their sales are down, particularly at Olive Garden. And so while a bunch of other restaurants are lowering prices to bring people in, Olive Garden is saying, no, what we're going to do is we're going to jack up prices 3%. I don't know why they would do that, but that's what they're going to do. And we've seen all across America, restaurants, particularly in California, with a minimum wage increase mandatory to 20%, where restaurants are having a really hard time with inflation and the price of food. And yes, again, the price of minimum wage going up in states like California. And so they're having to either shut their business, close their doors, or raise prices. And people aren't going to the restaurants, and the foot traffic is down. And all of this goes back to Joe Biden. So apparently online yesterday, people are just blasting Olive Garden left and right. What Olive Garden says is that people are worried about inflation and other people worried about their jobs and whether or not they're going to be able to keep their jobs. So fewer people are going out. They say particularly folks with lower incomes. So that's why they're raising their prices, it would appear, is because the people with higher incomes are still going to go to Olive Garden, but the people with lower incomes are not. So they figure the people with higher incomes can pay an additional 3%. I guess that's what their line of thinking is. But people were just really going after Olive Garden yesterday. Now, a couple of things real quick, because I want a couple more topics here that I want to get through. American Airlines, Janet Yellen, not American Airlines, good Lord. Americans are yelling at Janet Yellen, the Treasury Secretary. Now, you remember what she did? I had this audio for you yesterday.
Secretary Yellen, have you been to the grocery store lately?
I sure have. I go every week.
It's sticker shock, isn't it?
No.
I just, when you...
And you heard, she said no. She said no. And people all across America and the world, number one, woman's worth $20 million. So that's number one. But number two, that just added to this idea, and it's an idea that is true, that the Biden administration, they're just clueless as to what the American people are going through. And so the Daily Mail has this. Hey, Janet Yellen, here is why Americans are feeling the effects of inflation in the grocery store, even if you aren't at $20 million. I wonder if she goes to Olive Garden. Chicken breasts up 53%. Bread is up 53%. And this is since 2019. Potatoes are up 25%. Bananas are up 7%. Eggs are up 98%. Milk is up 98%. Coffee's up 44%. Ground beef is up 35%. Rice is up 32%. Cookies are up 33% as well. So when, she says that she does not feel the impact of inflation, when she says,
I just, when you look at...
She doesn't feel that sticker shock? Okay. Here's the thing. When Janet Yellen says that she doesn't feel that sticker shock, it's because, number one, she and her husband make a lot of money. That's number one. And number two, the Biden administration is simply unwilling to admit that they have made mistakes. And it's clear that they have made a lot of mistakes. Gas prices are going back up. Do you remember, by the way, let me see if I can find this up real quick. Do you remember, I got to get through this really, really quickly. You remember this moment?
Joe, they're calling you a corrupt politician.
There are 50 former national intelligence folks who said that what he's accusing me of is a Russian plan.
All right, so do you remember that? Well, the other day, I think it was Tuesday or Wednesday, there's a news that you had these 16 Nobel laureates, these Nobel Prize winners, these economists who were saying that if Donald Trump was elected, then he would force inflation to skyrocket. Remember that story?
16 Nobel laureates came out this week and said that if what's-his-name were elected president with his fiscal policies, inflation would just increase enormously in our country. And you have Joe Biden on the other side of that screen leading the world in reducing inflation in our country.
Obviously what this is, the 16 Nobel laureates, you know who was on that list of 16? Janet Yellen's husband. I kid you not. Janet Yellen's husband was one of the 16 Nobel Prize winners, these economists, who are saying that Donald Trump, or as Nancy Pelosi said, what's his name? Donald Trump coming back into office will send inflation skyrocketing. Now, what they're doing is just like those 51 intelligence officials who said that the laptop from hell was Russian disinformation, but they signed that letter anyway, knowing it was a lie, so that Joe Biden would have something to say when it came up. Well, don't think for a second that Joe Biden is not going to do the same thing when the economy comes up today. He is going to use that story about these Nobel Prize winners, just like Nancy Pelosi did, as a way to answer the question about his economy and how bad Bidenomics has been by saying, well, look at all these Nobel Prize winners. they're saying that if Trump gets back into office, inflation is going to skyrocket. So this is an age-old tactic by the Biden administration. How do I know that? They've done it before.
Today, 15 recipients of the Nobel Prize in Economics released a letter in support of the president's Build Back Better plan,
including 4 Nobel Prize winners recently highlighted in an open letter.
17 Nobel laureates who have conveyed this will help address inflation.
14 Nobel laureates in economics said they'll actually bring down the cost.
You see what they're doing, right? So in other words, the Nobel laureates, the Nobel Prize winners, they write this paper talking about and warning about Donald Trump's economy to shield Joe Biden, to give Joe Biden something to say. They've done this before to sell Bidenomics.
In economics have said, spontaneously wrote to me together. And 14 Nobel laureates in economics wrote to me telling me that it also...
It just keeps going on and on. This is like a 2-minute montage of Biden and Jen Psaki, circle back, and Corinne Jean-Pierre, all using these same guys, including Janet Yellen's husband, to try to sell Bidenomics, which, as we all know, Bidenomics has been a catastrophe. So watch for that tonight during the debate. When the economy comes up, Joe Biden is going to use this very convenient paper just published by these Nobel Prize winners talking up Joe Biden and castigating Donald Trump. 823. You want to save some money on your HVAC? Well, call my friends at Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. They are your Rude Pro partner. Become a Beehive member and keep that AC maintained for the long run. Going to be running at peak efficiency for maximum comfort. What are you going to get? What are the benefits? 3 annual tune-ups a year, 10% off, 10% discount on all repairs, priority front-of-the-line service, and no overtime or holiday fees, and exclusive Beehive member promotions as well. Now, I've been a Beehive member for years, and I can tell you it is worth it in the long run. Spend a little money now to save a lot in the long term. So call William and Brandon today, 615-775-7833, 615-775-7833. Again, they are your Rude Pro partner, BusyBeeHVAC.com. 824, Ken Weaver, what's coming up?
Well, Metro Police Chief John Drake just gave an interview on this morning's deadly officer-involved shooting. I'll let you hear what he had to say coming up at 8:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Hey, it's Dan Mandis, and I am so glad that California Closets has fixed my closet catastrophe. After exact measuring and planning, they came over and got to work. Yeah, once it was all plotted out on their 3D CAD system, the pieces are measured, cut, and precisely installed into my space. It was clean, fast, and professional, and above all, my new closets look and function great. Now, this was my dormer, and now this is my new dormer thanks to California Closets. Look at all of this added space for shirts and shoes, you name it, and it is cut so precisely, simply amazing. And my old closet that has now been reborn as the ultimate in style and functionability, making the best use of the space that I had. They can work on just about anything: bedrooms, garages, home offices, closets, pantries, and so much more. Find them online, CaliforniaClosets.com, and see what they can do for you. You can schedule a free design consultation. Mention my name, CaliforniaClosets.com. 828, Nashville's Morning News on WTN. Coming up next, the gang of four amigos as we wrap up Nashville's Morning News. Looking forward to the debate tonight. Cove generators. Listen, friends, you need a backup home standby generator in your life, and I do have just the place. Cove generators, because right now, listeners to my show get a free, upgraded 10-year warranty, $500 off when you mention my name, Dan Mandis. Now, Cove Generators, they are your premier Generac home standby generator dealer in the state of Tennessee. If you've got any questions, they're going to walk you right through it. My buddy Generator Dave is going to answer all of your questions, and he's there for you before the sale, during the sale, and after the sale as well. Now, remember that great deal. You mentioned my name. A free, upgraded 10-year warranty and $500 off when you mention my name. That is a deal you're not going to find anywhere else but at Cove Generators. They also, by the way, also offer you financing so that you can be ready for the next power outage. Now, remember that great deal, a free, upgraded 10-year warranty, $500 off when you mention WTN, 931-559-3311, 931-559-3311, covegenerators.com.
8:30 on the dot this Thursday morning. I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast and traffic in 5 minutes. Right now in Nashville, Metro Police Chief John Drake just updated the media on this morning's fatal officer-involved shooting at the Bellevue West Apartments, saying officers were faced with a man who was armed with a knife who had just stabbed his brother.
The officers waited until the individual was within just a few feet, gave warnings, please stop, police. And the individual didn't.
Yeah, a 27-year-old was stabbed by his 25-year-old brother. The 25-year-old was shot after the confrontation with police. The 27-year-old rushed to a hospital with non-life-threatening stab wounds. Election 2024, polling ahead of tonight's presidential debate shows former President Trump is leading big on the topics Americans say are the biggest issues. Trump seen as better handling inflation and immigration, a 12-point lead over Biden. And it's only when you get a little lower down that priority list that into the political extremism and abortion rights that you start to see a Biden advantage. And here in Nashville, Davidson County Election Administrator Jeff Roberts telling Fox 17 people who received a letter from the state asking to prove citizenship should not be alarmed. It's simply to ensure a fair election.
I would not say it's targeted because we do this match. The state sends us a list of names on a fairly regular basis.
Roberts says if you received one of the letters, go ahead and do what the letter asks to ensure a fair election. He says a lot of people have already come in to his office to do it personally. Market Numbers Report brought to you by Beacon Capital Management, online at beaconcm.com. We are a couple of minutes into a brand new trading day. Let's see where we stand on the Dow, S&P, and NASDAQ. Right now, the Dow is down 70, S&P is flat, NASDAQ is up 25. That's the latest news. Traffic and weather next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Thank you, Ken. 8:32, Nashville's Morning News on WTN. Friends, if you want a summer without limits, talk about unlimited shade and unlimited privacy with Moon Valley Nurseries. They can help you get the privacy you want, also the shade. Now, if you'd like more privacy in your backyard, Moon Valley Nurseries is planting all summer long. Their privacy-geared trees and hedges can give you the privacy you want this summer and keep your backyard shady as well. Now, summer's more fun with privacy and shade. Check out how to make that happen at moonvalleynurseries.com. These are trees that'll thrive in our climate and in your backyard. So check these folks out today, moonvalleynurseries.com. Their packages are customized for your backyard and your budget. Check them out today, moonvalleynurseries.com. As always, tell them Dan Mandis told you to reach out, moonvalleynurseries.com.
Hey, what's up, guys? This is Matt Murphy for Members Nutrition. I want to tell you about the Members Nutrition difference, and I want to encourage you to go over to the Members Nutrition website. Number one, they believe at Members Nutrition that they can sell vitamins and supplements at a lower cost point, and they're doing it every single day at membersnutrition.com. Number two, they want to make these products right here in the United States of America, not from some overseas company, and they do that every single day. I encourage you to go to membersnutrition.com. You'll get 50% off your purchase price at checkout. You don't have to put in any codes. Just go to membersnutrition.com. Once again, membersnutrition.com.
.838, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Time for the Gang of Four Amigos, brought to you by My Patriot Supply. PrepareWithMandis.com. Good morning, Johnny. How are you doing?
Good, and good morning to you, Dan.
All right, fine, good. Ken, hello. Hello, Ken.
Good morning, boys. Yes.
Chris Hand is here. Hello, Ken.
What's up? You guys doing good? You hype?
Big
Definitely
Big hype.
Big. I am big hype. What I am. Big hype.
Big time hype.
I think I'm going to start drinking early.
Just like right after the show, you're headed to Hop Springs.
Well, you know,
just going to wait until they open.
You know, it's funny because Chris asked me what time I'm going to get there. Mm-hmm. And I said like 4. Mm-hmm. And then he said, really? That's kind of early. And I realized like I don't have to be there at 4 now. I'm not, I have no managerial duties there. No. So I'm thinking I'm going to show up at like, 6:58. I'm going to do the hour-long broadcast, and I'm going to bail at 8:02. You know, I'd like a big star. That's what I'm going to do.
You're not going to go there and do any, you're not going to do drinking? You're not going to do any drinking?
No photographs, no autographs. I will refuse to speak to anyone.
You're not going to sign any MAGA hats like you did at the Glock store?
I'm not going to sign any MAGA hats. I'm not going to do any of that.
He's going to be the artist formerly known as Dan Mandis.
That's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm just kidding.
I thought you were going to offer an arm wrestle people.
Oh, trust me, I won't be doing that. I don't want to embarrass myself. I'll get there at 4.
Listen,
because I'm looking forward to it.
I know that you've been stressing out about a couple things when it comes to our party at Hop Springs. So I brought you something to take something off your plate.
Really?
Yeah, I brought Dan something just so that way he doesn't have to stress about, you know.
Oh, what did you get me?
Let's see it.
Oh my gosh, you did not.
So I knew that he didn't have his outfit picked out. So I wanted to get him. You know that shirt that he always compliments me on?
Yeah, he's got one too.
Chris Hand, for people watching on the listening on the radio, I'm always making fun of Chris's preppy shirt.
Well, I know you do it because you like it.
And so he brought me a preppy shirt.
He's jealous about the shirt, so I brought it. I got you one.
Funny.
That way you don't have to worry about
we are so
what you're
gonna have
wearing.
to
That's
coordinate.
a buddy.
We're going to have to coordinate one day.
We're friends. I knew you liked it.
You know what? I think I'm going to look fetching in this.
I think you're going to look like $1 million.
Thank you for that. That is so funny. I love that.
That's the way to go, brother Dan Mandis.
Oh my goodness! You know what? That is actually just what I needed today. All right.
I'm very thoughtful.
You are.
Yes.
You are. You even got a large for when I'm having a fat day.
A fat day?
What's that supposed to mean?
Nothing. It's like every day is a fat day for me lately. But you know, it's funny because every time.
If I got you a medium, you wouldn't have worn it.
No, see, that's the thing. I'm like right in between a medium and a large. Like I'm oddly sized for shirts.
Yeah.
So you did the right thing by getting me the large.
Yeah. So you're like me, man. You got to keep. You don't want anything rubbing up against your fat size.
That's right.
If I were a medium, I had a whole conversation with Amy about this the other day.
Yeah.
Where I'm going to throw away all my medium shirts because I have to be like at the 155, right, to fit into a medium.
You're too constrained.
I feel like I'm wearing a straitjacket, which is how I feel usually when I'm doing the show.
Yeah, but that's a good way. That's a good way to show off your muscles, man.
Anyway, so thank you. Should I wear that tonight? Should I wear that tonight?
I think you should.
Is that a long sleeve?
Oh yeah,
it's a long sleeve. We'll see. We'll see.
Well, I knew you were having trouble.
Tonight?
I knew you were having trouble picking out your outfit.
I am having a hard time picking out my outfit. So maybe I'll wear it. Anyway.
It'll look good on you.
Angie's laughing at me saying, "Fat day, LOL." Yeah.
Fat day? That is funny.
Well, I think that's usually
Having a fat day.
That's usually like a chick thing. So women usually talk like that, not burly men.
Burly.
Burly man. Come on out tonight. See some burly men.
Oh, man.
Burly, a person of large and strong, heavy built. When used in a sentence, I saw a burly figure approaching.
Just do what my mom always told me. Honey, you're just big boned.
Whoa, man. Why did
You're
I
not
say
fat,
that?
son.
Big boned.
You're just big boned.
Similar words. Sturdy. Brawny.
3779 says, big time celebrity, just make sure that they announce that you've left the building after you leave. I was kidding. I'm going to get there like 4. And Ken's going to be there about, what time, 4?
I'm going to get there right about 4 o'clock.
So Ken and I are going to get there about the same time.
All right, perfect.
And you're going to be there about what time?
Probably 4-ish, yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Johnny's going to go to bed early. Johnny's not going to. It's way on the other side of Murfreesboro for Johnny.
Yeah, so we'll see. I haven't poo-pooed it yet, but
oh, okay. There's no official poo-pooing.
There's no official poo-pooing yet, but we'll see.
Very good. If I, Johnny, if I buy you and the lovely Glenn a dinner, would you show up?
That's a nice offer. Might do that.
All right.
That sure is a nice offer.
There's a Taco Bell along the way.
There is.
I'm just kidding.
I got everything in the borough.
They do have everything in the borough.
Yeah, you're not kidding.
Got a big old Whataburger.
Good gosh, the borough has grown so much.
Yes,
over
it
the years.
has.
It has, and I got to tell you, the borough is. I like Murfreesboro when I go down
Murfreesboro.
there. So I didn't realize until I'd gone to Hot Springs how darn big it is.
Yeah, it's getting
Good
bigger all
Lord.
the time, dude.
Yeah,
I'm toward Franklin, man. They're clearing out forest for brand new apartments, condos. I'm telling you, one of these days there will be no forest between any of these boroughs outside of Nashville.
Yeah, Murfreesboro, Franklin, they'll be all together.
It's going to be like L.A. You fly into L.A. and it's just, or Dallas-Fort Worth, and it's just all city.
Well,
there's nothing.
Yeah, it's like that between here and Smyrna now.
Yeah,
there's no more forest.
Okay.
I mean, it's disappearing, and it's same things going in between Smyrna and Murfreesboro.
All right. Jason says, I'm just retaining fluid. You want to read?
You're talking about having a fat day again.
Yeah. Can you read what else Jason said?
I'm not reading the other half.
Oh,
I used to get away with it because you were the boss. I can't now.
Yeah, we got to be careful now, man.
It's too dicey.
Yeah, we
Too
do.
dicey
We all got to
Jason's
be.
texts.
We all got to be good. Anyway, moving right along. You have a new advertiser on the show.
I do. I'm pretty excited. I know, like, Dan has all these sponsors, and I've been, like, working hard with the sales team to get my own sponsors, and I wanted to make sure I introduced this one because I think the audience might be mad at me because I'm taking big pharma money, but I have kids, so.
If you're having trouble sleeping, ask your doctor about Bidenica, the sleep aid made from 100% Joe Biden press conference.
The best way to get something done, if it holds near and dear to you that you like to be able to, anyway.
Bidenica has a patented blend of confusion and forgetfulness that will calm the most overactive brains.
COVID has taken this year, just since the outbreak, has taken more than 100 years. Look, here's the lives. I mean, think about it.
When they sold out American jobs and killed the Keystone Pipeline, it kept me up all night worrying about how we pay our bills. But then I got Bidenica, and I've never slept better.
Sometimes when I get hopped up on sugar, my parents give me Bidenica so I pass out. Other times they give it to me during the day, probably so they can do the deed. Gross.
Warning, people who have used Bidenica have experienced rapid lying and an inability to secure the southern border. Others have hallucinated and fought breakfast cereals.
Corn Pop was a bad dude.
Ask your doctor if Bidenica is right for you.
All right, so we're really proud.
Sure, another great sponsor.
We're ecstatic.
That Corn Pop was
Bidenica.
We have the best sponsors.
Where did you get that?
Donald Trump posted that on Truth Social.
Of course he did.
So-
Oh my gosh, that is so funny.
I had to grab that.
I love that.
Oh my
It's
gosh.
so good. It's even better with the video. So if you
I can imagine.
if you find me on Instagram at Chris Hand on Air, you can see it with the visuals.
Very cool.
All right. Very
Sometimes
good.
they give it to me in the middle of the day.
So they can do the deed.
That's good. That's good.
So, although tonight after the debate, you may have to redo that because you're going to have Biden so jacked up on whatever he's going to be jacked up on.
Yep.
It's like, well, then
By
there's.
the way, I wanted to talk about that.
Okay.
Remember when this morning Congressman Desjardins was talking about all the things that you can give somebody to jack them up?
Yeah.
Right.
Like what we saw during the State of the Union speech.
Yep.
And he mentioned that steroid. Well, I remember last year whenever I was going through some stuff and my doctor prescribed me a steroid. Dude, I was up for 3 straight days. Steroids will jack you up.
Yeah, they will.
And I mean, that is, and I mean, you know, this Congressman Desjardins is a doctor.
Right.
And I mean, he laid out all of the things that, you know, they could give him tonight. And I would not be surprised at all if that is exactly what they're going to do.
Did you guys hear how soft Mike Johnson was describing this stuff on CNN? He's like, well, they're going to have him hopped up on energy drinks.
Oh, I played that. Yeah.
Energy drinks won't do it, man.
Yeah, he's not going to be hopped up on energy drinks. He doesn't want to be seen as a conspiracy theorist, and that's why he was so soft on it. Because everyone who's been paying attention knows that Biden is going to be on something. He's got to.
Go back and watch him on the D-Day ceremonies.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, man, he is going to be like night and day. D-Day, he looked like a caricature.
He did.
I mean, his mouth, it looked like a drawing of a sad face is what he looked like because he couldn't hold his face up. He'll be completely different.
Well,
tonight.
and here's the deal. The fact that he's not willing to do a drug test tells you all you need to know.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Trump
Because
says, let's do it. Trump said, let's do it.
If somebody accused me of something and I knew that I didn't have anything to hide, I'd be like, absolutely, let's go.
Yeah.
But because they're dismissing what Trump is saying and wanting of a drug test, well, then he's not going to do it, which tells me he's guilty.
Well, and Adrienne Elrod, the campaign spokeswoman, she deflected and said, oh, he accused Hillary Clinton of the same things.
I don't remember that.
I don't recall that
I don't recall that at all.
That at all.
No.
And so what if he did?
I mean, the closest thing that Hillary was accused of was, being hopped up on the blood of infants during
That's
2016.
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
It was.
I remember that.
There was that.
Oh,
but I don't remember methamphetamines.
I don't remember it either.
Fabric softener of the pantsuit.
All righty. What do we got coming up next during the Chris Hand Show?
Well, I got some audio, great audio of Tucker Carlson in Australia just obliterating a leftist reporter.
That is, and I had so much today, I didn't get to it, but you folks, you want to stick around for that. Is that your first segment?
I don't know. We're going to play it by
It's
ear.
really, really good.
I don't know. We're gonna,
Why don't you make that your first segment? Do it. Do it.
And do it.
Now that I'm being pressured, I don't even want to play it.
I'm just kidding. Play whatever you want.
No, I'm just kidding.
Listen, if you don't play it, I'm going to play it tomorrow.
I'll do it. I'll do it first. Also, we have Sergeant Betsy Brantner Smith. She's she's retired now, but she's the spokesperson for the National Police Association. She's going to call in around 11 and talk about the public health crisis that is gun violence.
Okay. All right. 8:51, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Dan Mandis here. Looking forward to seeing you folks tonight. Why do I shop at Brentwood Jewelry? Well, it's because they've got a great selection and great prices as well. No upselling. So if you've got any kind of an event coming up, whether it is a birthday, a wedding, whatever, graduation, you need a gift, you shop at Brentwood Jewelry. You're going to find what you need at a great price, something within your budget. So it doesn't matter the season or the reason. Brentwood Jewelry has all kinds of gift options for you to choose from. Now, I also love that when you walk into Brentwood Jewelry, they've got American flags everywhere. This is a great American company that appreciates conservative values. Located in the heart of Brentwood, 7012 Church Street East, located just off Franklin Road. Exceptional style, exceptional deals every day for over 50 years. Shop in store or online, BrentwoodJewelry.com. 8:55, had Dan Mandis here. Did you know that Mark Spain Real Estate is the #1 most reviewed real estate company in America? They've got over 11,000 five-star reviews. Now, they're going to sell your home fast and for maximum profit. Now, this is, as I've been saying for years, hassle-free selling. With the guaranteed offer from Mark Spain Real Estate, they've been helping homeowners sell their homes for nearly 30 years. And yes, they have helped over 58,000 families sell their homes. I've been so impressed with Mark Spain Real Estate over the years, and every time we have these events, I always have somebody come up and say that, yes, they too have used Mark Spain Real Estate. Now, Ashley, one of our listeners, has said Mark Spain Real Estate's knowledge of the market and strategy made selling her home simple. She's already recommending Mark Spain Real Estate to some of her friends. Call them today, 855-299-SOLD. 855-299-SOLD. You can also go to markspain.com to get a guaranteed offer on your home today. Tell them Dan Mandis told you to reach out. That's markspain.com and start packing.